Episode of Fantasy Football News. We're calling it the Fantasy Football Eve Show. We got Dr. Raj on, as always, and we're going to talk injuries, who to start, who to sit, answer all your questions, and do a little special edition right on screen here, my 2020 Dynasty running backs. We're going to look toward 2020. I'm going to do a lot of Dynasty content moving forward here, so glad to have you. I'm going to try the soundboard. It's been giving me problems when I'm streaming Dr. Raj. Let's see if it works.
No, I'm going to cross my fingers for you, man.
It's not.
No.
Yeah, I think what it is when we're live on Skype, it doesn't go. So, oh well. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna.
I wish I was a doctor in that sense. I could fix it, you know.
So let me do
ACL. I'd be able to help.
Let me do the fake intro. Top 5 running backs. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show. So enough of the intro with you. I've tried it like 5 times in a row. It's not going to work. I'm taking the soundboard away.
That's a sign, man.
Yeah, and I've got a really good laptop that I run everything on, but I'm going to invest in an additional top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show. I knew the intro would come back to us. There it is. What's up, Doc, says Computer Bob.
What's up, Bob? What's up, Computer Bob? What's up, everybody out there? How's it going? Happy Saturday. Good to be back tonight.
Dr. Raj, make my son feel better, says, can you see the screen? Are you watching on a multiple...
I'm going to log in on my computer.
Okay, that'll be good because then you can kind of see what's going on, and you might see, I'll put some of the questions up and you can see them. You'll see about a 10, you might have to turn the audio down. You'll see about a 10 to 15 second delay depending on the stream, which is kind of strange. But Ugly Dude's in the house, Nolan's in the house, Brissett's dad's in the house, Computer Bob, I just mentioned, Fuzzy Z.
Dad, my man.
Yeah, Fuzzy Z, Jags in the house, Darryl, my balls, Zach Ertz is in the house.
Oh. That's a good one.
Yeah, I like that one. That's
real quick though, Zach Ertz. What did we say last week?
Spider-Man point.
On Spider-Man point, we called it, man.
Yeah,
I called a lot of good stuff last week. Actually, Adam Thielen, I told you that hamstring injury could flare up, and it did.
Yeah,
DeSean Jackson.
Thielen ain't healing.
Thielen ain't healing. The injury to DeSean Jackson was worrisome, and now he's out for the year. So.
Yeah, DeSean. That's a case of. You were too old, like as quick as he is, as good as he looked, at a certain age, man, you can pull anything.
That injury, yeah, exactly. At that age, with that kind of injury, it's not looking good for him.
And he's such an explosive guy. Like he doesn't know how to go at 99%. He has to go at exactly 100% speed, and he's such a quick dude. Like. It was almost crazy how fast I think they said he's faster now than he was when he entered the league.
I can't believe that. I mean,
it was something that I think they clocked it in some kind of run that he did. I forget where I heard that. Does anybody in here know about that? If you do, speak up. But there's some kind of I don't know if it was a practice or what, but they clocked him and they're like, the dude's faster than he was at the combine.
Wow.
Yeah, so maybe he I don't know. Let's instead of getting into week 10, which we will get to, I promise you, when we're going to get to all your questions, let's talk about 2020 running backs. I did a video, I posted it earlier today, and stupid copy and paste. I left Cook out, even though I talk about him, he's clearly my number 3. I had Kamara at 3 and 5, meaning to have Cook at 3. So you see Kamara twice in it, but I clearly speak to it. I'm like, hey, Kamara's number 3. I just put it up on the board wrong. But I got the rankings fixed here. You might have to hit mute on that. It's crazy.
I need to turn it down. Hold on.
Yeah, no problem. McCaffrey I have at the number 1 running back for 2020. Dr. Raj is playing some old videos. He's excited to watch the show.
Yeah, I am. I got technical difficulties on my side, man. Give me like 2 minutes here.
It's you, Dr. Raj.
Now it's me. Oh my God.
He's blaring some of the old shows. He can't get enough of the Fantasy Football Show, as you guys should be feeling the same way. And subscribe and hit the thumbs up. I have 8 thumbs up. Come on, guys, punch it.
Everybody in the industry paving
he can't get enough of that interview with Andy
I
Holloway.
can't get enough, man.
Do you even know who that is, Dr. Raj?
What's up?
Do you even know who that guy was that I was interviewing right there?
Who was it? The screen went blank and my whole laptop went kind of haywire. I got to restart it.
Andy Holloway. Do you know who he? There goes Chuck.
It's been technical. See, these technical difficulties are rubbing off on me, man. It's not a good look.
It's only when you're on the show, though. I mean, but
It's
it's
always.
cool.
I know, man.
It's worth it. The sacrifice and production quality to have you on the show is so worth it. Don't worry about it.
It's been rough. I got to clean it up.
It's fine. I'm not trying the intro anymore. Maybe we'll cut out all the technical challenging things. But the guy that I interviewed in that clip you were just playing that loads when you go Andy Holloway. It's okay if you don't know who he is, but do you know who Andy Holloway is from the Fantasy Footballers?
I don't.
Yeah. So in fantasy football, there's Matthew Berry, ESPN, and there's the
Berry.
Footballers. They're an independent. They're not on ESPN or anything like that. They do a show. They're going to be on Sirius, I think, here soon. And they do their own YouTube show, but they have 150, 160,000 followers. I don't know if they're approaching 200 yet. But I had Andy Holloway on my show there. That's that clip you were playing right there. But good guy, good people. They're the biggest fantasy football YouTube show out there.
Oh wow! So that's golds right there.
Yeah. So he came on. He was good. I was during my 24-hour live stream, and he came on. I think an hour 4 or 5 or something like that.
I still can't believe you went on for 24 hours. I commend you for that. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. The most frustrating part is that I had more views that next day on just a regular mock draft video than I did during
That's got to be annoying. You went up 24 hours and
it was a little,
need more views the rest of the day.
A little frustrating. So on screen here, I don't know if you have it pulled up yet or you see it. I have my Dynasty running backs for 2020. And I know I'm going to take a lot of heat, maybe not from this crowd. Definitely, if we posted it on Reddit, we could probably have Smitty crying within about 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, you'd get flamed up on Reddit.
Yeah, I think I'd probably retire at that point.
You might want to if you were to go on Reddit.
if I go on Reddit with even my top 2, they're gonna find a problem with me going McCaffrey, Barkley. But my dynasty running back rankings are right here. You got McCaffrey, Barkley, Dalvin Cook, Zeke Elliott, Alvin Kamara. Again, I did this earlier in the day, but I copy-pasted wrong, and I had Cook and Kamara. Kamara was at 3 and 5. Meant to have Cook there. Kamara at 5. Chubb at 6 is where I'm going to start off talking with you. Or maybe we'll start at the top and just come down. But Chubb's a very interesting guy to talk about in Dynasty. Aaron Jones, same thing. Montgomery might be really, really high to some people and just right for other people. They're going to be like, man, I love Montgomery. They're put him at 4, But you're going to have other people who will be like, he's had 2 games. How can you put him at 8? Jacobs at 9. He's coming on strong. And Singletary is going to create a lot of waves being in my top 10 already. But you have Fournette. You have Chris Carson. You have a lot of guys worthy of being in the top 10. I'm not saying that they weren't really close calls for that 10-9 spot. So just because you don't see Fournette's name there, I'm not a big Fournette believer, or Carson, let's say, doesn't mean they weren't right there. So we could definitely have a conversation with everybody and you, Dr. Raj, as to who should have maybe been in the top 8, 7 range. I don't think we're going to have an argument at all with the top 4, right?
No.
I mean, maybe order, but those are...
Maybe the order, yeah.
Yeah, so who's your number 1 dynasty guy?
I mean, you got to go Christian McCaffrey, without a doubt. He's probably the best fantasy running back you can own right now in all aspects, especially if you're in a PPR league, because he does everything for that offense. He is the Panthers' offense. I mean, you could make the argument for Saquon or Kamara, because they have a high volume usage as well, especially Kamara, for the Saints. But honestly, man, Christian McCaffrey, you take him away from that Saints team, or for the Panthers, they really don't have an offense. They pass him the ball, he runs the ball, he runs at a high level. I think Christian McCaffrey's probably the best player you can have on your team as far as a running back. Number 2 for me, I'd go Kamara. Number 3 is Saquon Barkley. Barkley, the only reason I rank him as 3, to me, he's probably better than those guys skill-wise. They're not giving him the carries that he should probably get. I mean, it's like, I know he had the injury early on, but I feel like they're trying to develop Daniel Jones and, make him this, the franchise quarterback, basically. But it's like they don't want to give Saquon those 20 carries, those 25 carries. but obviously he's very talented. I would go McCaffrey, Kamara, and Saquon is my 1, 2,
And then
3.
Cook. Where do you have Cook and Zeke?
I got Zeke ahead of. I got Zeke ahead of Cook because you can't deny him. He's been doing it for
So Zeke 4,
so many
Cook
years.
5,
Zeke 4 and Cook 5. But you can flip those guys.
Yeah.
The only reason I would actually put Cook over Zeke is because Zeke might start wearing down. In Dynasty, like we talked about before, after a while, these players start getting older.
Yeah.
They start wearing down. But I still have Zeke ahead of Cook because I want to see Cook
Yeah.
maybe
I
be
think
a little bit more consistent.
I think Kamara is going to be not a forgotten man because he's still going to be ranked in the 5-6 range. I think heading into 2020 redraft leagues and dynasty are a little more forgiving. You'll have a guy like Kamara not fall too far at all in dynasty because people aren't as quick to jump ship on him. Like a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster is going to have a lot higher dynasty value because people are holding out hope that it's a situational thing, which I think it is.
I think
so even if you made an offer in a dynasty league, an existing dynasty league for Juju, if you've never played dynasty before, you'd be shocked at how close he still is to really high value. Whereas in redraft, people will give him away literally for a ham sandwich, but or Frank Gore. Someone wanted to know. Someone made a comment. Is he a Niners fan? I'm gonna say
maybe just a little bit.
I'm gonna say a little bit.
A little bit. I'm a Niners fan. Only since I was 5 years old. Now I'm 35 years old now.
Yeah,
so maybe just a little.
But so I don't argue your thinking on Kamara. I think Kamara will enter 2020 in all formats as a kind of forgotten potential top 1 to 2 running back. He has that upside. I'm glad that he's gonna walk in doubted. In the sense he won't be in anybody's top 4 most likely. I like that you had him in your top 4 because I feel like he really could be that good. Now, if he finishes because he's been hurt, everybody's got a sour taste in their mouth right now.
They do.
They're doing rankings right now, or they aren't. I am. If they were doing rankings right now, if they're crazy like I am, then they would probably have him held back a little bit, and then he's going to get the training wheels off this week. And if he finishes strong and he has like a top 10 or a top 5 running back finish, he will jump right back into the 3, 4, 5 overall conversation.
I have a big feeling that Kamara is about to go crazy the second half of the season, and he's going to do exactly that, and he's going to be back in everybody's mouths, and they're going to be talking about how great Kamara is moving forward. He's a great player. Again, we talk about injuries all the time, and those things slow you down. I do expect him to bounce back, and moving forward next season, if I was, drafting dynasty or all formats, really, I'd still want to target Kamara on my team because he's young. He is a big part of their offense. And even when Drew Brees leaves that team, he's still going to be someone that Teddy Bridgewater is going to be, handing the ball off and building this offense around. And again, they even have Michael Thomas, so people are going to forget about Kamara, and he's going to go off on somebody. It's going to happen, and people are going to forget, and he's going to go crazy.
Yeah, I love Kamara. I love Kamara. I'll trade for him in Dynasty any day of the week. Now, Nick Chubb is a really interesting player to talk about because if you talk to the average person right now, or even a majority of fantasy owners, they will say the guy's a top 6 running back lock. But fantasy football is very quick to judge and leave a player high and dry in terms of supporting them as soon as they have 2 or 3 bad games in a row. If Chubb gets hurt, which is something that's always worried me, I've said he's a top 5 to 10 running back all offseason long and into the season. I'm a huge supporter, but I have been a very, very, very vocal advocate of making sure you draft Kareem Hunt. Even back in January, I talked about this and got blasted over and over because he's going to miss half a season. Everybody gets upset. But if he gets hurt, you're locked in because Hunt would be that good. Hunt's not going to take his job, but Hunt would be just as good, if not better, if getting all the touches in that offense. Hunt was amazing his rookie year, and he's a good running back. He's a fantastic running back, and take his personal life out of it or whatever. I have to evaluate things from just a fantasy perspective. I can't let that influence me. Like Tyreek Hill. I try and put all my feelings aside for him and say, this guy is an top 5 wide receiver for the future. You just got to rank him there. So Chubb, if he gets banged up, if he loses half his touches because they've overworked him and they want to keep him healthy. And Cleveland's capable of anything. They could say, we're going to do a running back by committee just out of nowhere. Where do you rank him right now? Because you have to make assumptions whether he'll stay healthy, whether they're using him. And what do you predict will happen?
So that's the thing. With Cleveland, with their coach, with Kitchens, it's really hard to predict anything. I mean, you got this team that has all this talent, all-world talent. You got OBJ, Landry, and they were supposed to be this top Super Bowl contender. But again, they're the Browns. They are who we thought they were, right?
Yep.
It's hard to really predict them. And I still think Chubb is still a top 5-6 running back, like you said. But at the end of the day, with Kareem Hunt coming back, you have to figure that's going to take away some of his carries. As good as Chubb is, they're going to eat away at his carries. And this is the thing. They've had Chubb all season, and he hasn't been getting the consistent amount of carries. So with him not having Hunt, he wasn't getting the top carries he should have. Now with Hunt coming back, my worry is it's going to eat away at his carries, and he wasn't getting consistent carries to begin with. I think that's going to drop him down a little bit, but I still think he is a top 10 running back. But it's tough because now you have Hunt. If he shows good potential, then you're going to be like, okay, now his value drops or Chubb's value drops. So I still think personally he's one of the top running backs in the league. But the Browns, their way they're running things over there is just scary. And I wouldn't trust anybody really on the Browns because, again, their coaching staff can one day you give them 20 carries, then the next day have 5 carries, and you're going, what the heck's going on here? Like they got Odell Beckham who's screaming for the ball, and they're not giving him the ball. So I don't trust the Browns if I'm a fantasy player, a fantasy football owner. And like you said, you got to grade these guys on talent alone. And in talent alone, Chubb is probably one of the top 10 running backs in the league.
I think if you have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb together in Dynasty, this is a very good and safe ranking. If you only have Nick Chubb, it's warranted. It's currently where I probably have him, but I have that feeling where I'm like, damn it, I don't know that I feel comfortable or that I'm going to feel comfortable later. And Aaron Jones is kind of a similar player. There's no backup. I mean, Jamal Williams, a lot of people think he's so good. I don't know that he would even come. I don't think he's going to come in and be as good as Aaron Jones if he was given all the carries. And nor does Jamal Williams ever stay healthy. Not that Aaron Jones has, but Aaron Jones is currently on fire right now. He was on my top 7 bold predictions on the year. I think it was number 7 or number 8. So I had Aaron Jones breaking out, being a top 5 running back. It's on sleeperu.com. Go over to sleeperu.com if you haven't already. Subscribe. You get those bold predictions. I have him 7. I have Monty 8, who I feel like Monty's capable of being number 6. If I had to, or Singletary, or Jacobs. Jacobs is growing on me a ton. The only reason I was a little cautious with Jacobs, and I did tell everybody, I'm cautious with him. I still love the talent. I want to see him prove that he can stay healthy. My concern was that he had never, ever, ever rushed for over 640 yards in one college season. And that worried me, and it still worries me a little bit, that he could hit a rookie wall, not only with certainty, but faster than anybody else. But they have used him in a capacity that I feel like might make him avoid the rookie wall, or if he hits it, it'll just be a minor little setback for a week or two where he still produces and gets like a touchdown and you're fine with it. But where do you, and in Singletary and Monty, I want my heart wants to put them at 6 and 7, but I've throttled back a little bit and put Monty at 8 and Singletary 10. But where do you see anybody that's missing, and do you agree with any of these guys in this order?
So I like the order, but at the same time, we talked about this before. I honestly think Jacobs has top 5 potential, maybe top 3 potential. The way he's running is absolutely crazy. And the way that Oakland is running their offense, it's old school football. Gruden's going, run the ball, set up the play action, efficient West Coast passing. And David Carr's really thriving over with that offense with Jacobs running the show. And honestly, Jacobs has a talent. And I know that is a good point that he may hit the rookie wall because he didn't have a lot of carries. But also on the flip side of that argument, I see it as a benefit because his legs are fresh. And as a running back, you want to have good, strong, fresh legs. And that's going to help him kind of go through the rest of the season. I think at some point it may catch up with him because he's going to hit that wall and his stamina may be lower because the college game definitely not as long as the NFL season. It's a grind in the NFL. It takes its toll. But I think his legs are fresh, and this kid has some talent. I watched him run in college, and I knew he was going to be a good player.
Yeah.
I saw him, and I was like, man, this kid is got something special. And at the end of the day, at college, there was a lot of talent where he played. There was so many good players.
Yeah, Damian Harris. I mean, Damian Harris was they were like the same bruising type of back trying to
so
take over.
You can just give each guy 10, 15 carries, and they're both going to kill you. And that, at the end of the day, the philosophy of the team was, okay, we wore you down with this guy. Now we're bringing in fresh legs. The next guy's going to gas you. So really, I don't think that's that big of an impact for him moving into the NFL. He's a hard-nosed runner, and I would definitely draft him if I had a.
So you're slotting him where? Where are you putting him on the board here for dynasty running backs?
I would go outside of the top 5 and make him number 6 in my
okay.
top.
So you move Chubb down. 6. You put Jacobs at number 6. I think a lot of people are going to like that. There are a lot of Jacobs fans in here.
And the reason I say that over Chubb, and I love Chubb like we just talked about, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of uncertainty. They have Kareem Hunt. The coaching staff, like we just talked about, I don't trust them. I would trust Jacobs over a Chubb right now, the way they're playing.
Yeah, Juice is asking, we're talking redraft. No, it says Dynasty right up there in the blue. This is Dynasty running backs. We will get into redraft. We will get into Week 10. But I wanted to address running backs right now for 2020 in a Dynasty, from a Dynasty angle. So who do you take out, and do you add anybody from the top 10 that I have here? Like I'd imagine Singletary wouldn't be in your top 10. He's not in a lot of people's.
No, I like Singletary. Okay. I think it's and Monty. I like those two. We've talked about them. Honestly, they're good. They're just not getting the usage like they would want. If they get the usage, easily top 10. I know a lot of people probably want Fournette in that top 10. I'm not a Fournette guy, really.
I'm not either.
I just think that at some point he's going to cost you. He'll get hurt or something. I wouldn't want him in a dynasty. I think dynasty moving forward, you want guys that are going to, be big-time players and be those one guys that you can bank on to get you big-time points and maybe win your league. And I like those guys that you have on that top 10, and I would probably keep them on the outside 9 and 10.
Okay. What do you guys think in the chat? Do you agree with this? I know a couple people said that they, where's Carson, where's Fournette? Again, I mentioned that in the beginning that Fournette and Carson are, just literally like in this group that's fighting for that 10th spot. I don't think it's funny though when I do this, Dr. Raj. I understand if someone were to say like, where's why is Fournette in there? Because he's probably fringe. But I'll get like a comment of somebody that is clearly in most everyone's eyes ranked probably around 12 to 15, maybe even 20, and they're like, "Where the hell is so and so?"
I love my guy Tevin Coleman and Matt Breida. Yeah, I know they're not top 10 dynasty.
Yeah, like I could see that. That's a good one to throw out there. Like someone's like, "Did you forget Coleman?" Like they're both
great players, but they're not top 10. And I respect the list. I would maybe say Chris Carson. He's pretty solid, and the way Seattle plays, watching them play a lot, it's just they run the ball. But I still think he's on the outside because at the end of the day, they could really plug any running back in that system and do well. And it all goes through Russell Wilson. Wilson's the driving show of that.
And offense. Let me preface though, when I say that, I'm not against anybody having Coleman in the top. Top 10. I'm just merely saying when someone tells me where the hell's Coleman, you forgot Coleman. Like I'm okay if they show me a ranking Coleman's there. I'll be like, dude, great job. I like that you're getting bold.
Yeah.
Just trust your gut. But it's funny when people are shocked when a guy not typically in anyone's top 10 is not in your top 10. That's all. It's funny. It's just the approach.
They get a little frustrated because they have their views and they want your views to be the same.
My ball, Zach Ertz wants to know, and I know you're gonna want to talk about this topic. Will Kittle play in Week 11?
He's not playing. I'm sorry to say it, man. Okay, this is what it is. I know it's not official. I can't spill all the beans. I do have personal sources, so people come at me sometimes on my page. Oh, you don't have credible this and that. I know a lot of people close to the team, and I knew this news about a week ago, and I was telling people, and they were like, you're crazy. He's not even on the injury report. Then all of a sudden today, he's doubtful. So I'll put it this way. If Kittle plays Monday night, I'll be surprised. That's the way I'm going to preface it. If Kittle plays Monday night, I'll be very surprised. So if you have Kittle on your team, which many people should, make some roster moves, try to get another tight end, look at the waiver wire. It's a big week because he's not going to play most likely. Again, I'd be surprised, and it's tough. He might miss another game after this. So let's talk about that. I definitely want to talk about this because I told everybody I would.
Okay, news. We're going to talk news now. George Kittle not likely to play.
Yeah, he's not likely to play. He got shifted down to doubtful today. Kyle Shanahan officially broke the news today. So I know the thing is, a lot of people want to be, all these coaches, like we've talked about, is they're kind of ho-hum on the injury front. So last week, after the game, they took an MRI, and Adam Schefter broke the news. He says the MRI came back as it was fine, or whatever he said. And people are saying, oh, okay, so he should be playing. But not necessarily. So as a physical therapist, when I see an MRI report, I look for certain factors. And the factor that they saw was, it's good from the standpoint of there's no structural damage. He didn't tear any ligaments. He didn't tear any tendons, no ACL, no meniscus, no MCL, et cetera, et cetera. But that doesn't mean that there's no internal derangement. So there still could be something wrong internally in the knee, maybe some sprains, maybe a strain, maybe some soft tissue damage, some bruising, some bursitis, whatnot. So there's still something wrong with the knee, and it's enough to keep him out. And again, he's a star player on this team, and if they were to play him on this game and he still has some issues, they're risking the rest of his season maybe. It can lead to something bigger down the line. So they're going to be safe. And I know not everybody follows the Niners, but of course I do.
Yeah.
Their medical staff has been very, very, very cautious with injuries. They got a new medical staff, and over the last 2 seasons, they had over 40 people on the injured reserve. So they had to make a big change. And the way that they run things this year is being very careful, which I like as a PT, is they're very cautious. If there's one injury, they really shut the person down until they know 100% they could come back and play. And Kittle is, again, he's a star player. He's a cornerstone player. They're going to be very careful with this injury. They don't want to risk it. And as far as their game plan, they have a fullback, Kyle Juszczyk, that they're just getting back from injury. He can do a lot of things that Kittle can do, so that's not going to really change their game plan. But on a fantasy level, it's going to change your game plan. The guy that's going to step up for George Kittle for the Niners, if you want to try to stream him up, Ross Dwelly, tight end. Ross Dwelly, he was an undrafted free agent in the draft 2 years ago, and he's got some big plays this season. He's made some big third down plays for the Niners that have extended the drives. So, maybe you can take a shot on him. He's my sleeper of the week, Ross Dwelly.
Nice. And give a Coleman, and as I always ask you, a running back projection for the 49ers crew. People love to know.
Coleman's going to have a big game because the Niners are going to run the ball against Seattle. They're going to want to control the tempo. They're going to want to control the clock. They want to limit Russell Wilson having the ball in his hands because, again, as much as I'm not a Seahawks fan, I got to respect Russell Wilson, and I feel he's the MVP of the league this season. And if you take away Russell Wilson from the Seahawks, to me, that's a 3-4 win team. No discredit to them. I know I'm probably going to get attacked for saying that. But really, they got to run the ball. So I think Tevin Coleman has a pretty solid game. I think at 80 yards is not out of the question. A touchdown, maybe 2-3 catches out the backfield. And I think Matt Breida will get you about 10 to 12 carries, a good 60 yards, maybe a touchdown. I think they're really going to run heavy on this game. And then they're going to use the tight end, Ross Dwelly, I think. And Emmanuel Sanders is another guy that you might want to take for the Niners. The Seahawks don't really have a great secondary. They have a lot of air yards given up, and they're also giving up a lot of yards to the tight end. So, man, I really wish Kittle was in there. He probably would have had a big game. But that's why I'm saying Ross Dwelly can have a big game, and these running backs. I really think Coleman would have a pretty good game. At least I think he'll get you a touchdown this week for sure, 80 yards.
Okay. Jake's making a comment or is asking a question. Does Darryl Henderson bring the juice this week? It depends. I think Malcolm Brown's a go. I think Gurley's still questionable. I can pull up the news on that in a second, see if there's any updates. But right now we're at a point where, and Computer Bob made a comment earlier. Where's that comment, Computer Bob? Where he said, Smitty, how's it feel to finally appear to be right on Devin Singletary and Montgomery, because I've been talking those guys up to an extreme degree all offseason to the point where my reputation's on the line, getting tainted.
Your credibility is on the line with these guys, man.
And so, to see Montgomery not only prove that he's, when used right, he can produce, but that he's special, man. He is a record tackle-breaking machine from college that literally, like, you give this guy the ball, he could be a top 5 to 10 running back if you just continue to feed him. And he's averaging over 20-something carries a game the past 2 games. looking good. Singletary is so special. Like
He's
watching
good.
him just stutter step. I mean, he changes directions like Marshall Falk used to,
He
where it's
cuts on
just
a dime. Yeah,
it's
he
just
really just choo choo. It's
yeah.
pretty amazing.
I'm so excited about them. So yes, Computer Bob, I'm very happy. I hope they continue to do it though, because it takes more than 2 games to make me feel good about the prediction. Because
Yeah,
I've
you
talked
gotta
about
be
it.
a bit
Yeah, I
more
mean, I even feel even if they tore it up the rest of the year, I'm still feeling cheated that both of these offenses didn't implement them earlier. But Darryl Henderson's in a similar situation where it was like all hope was lost with Singletary and Montgomery for a little bit of time. People are like, "Oh my God, I'm benching Montgomery. I'm never playing Montgomery again." Singletary got hurt when he kind of rose up. So Singletary was one of my biggest go get him in the 7th, 8th, 9th rounds, and then this is back in January through really June. And then I think it was July or August when buzz started to hit, and then they got rid of Shady. And then it was like, oh my God, everybody started taking Singletary in the 5th and 6th round. So everybody that benefited earlier on in early drafts, we'd mock drafting them all off season. Singletary came out of nowhere. Then he got hurt, and then the buzz died down. But he's back.
But then they got my boy. They got the running back killer. They got Frank Gore, the
Yeah.
legend.
Who you predict will
I told
break the
you this
rushing?
on Thursday night. This is my bold prediction for my other. I
Yeah.
got a lot of bold predictions. My
Yeah,
other
you do.
bold prediction, Frank. Okay, so everybody knows I'm a huge Frank Gore fan. He was one of my favorite players of all time. 49er legend. He's 85 yards away from number 3 all time on the rushing yards list behind Barry Sanders. He's right behind Barry Sanders. If he gets 85 yards this weekend, he's going to be number 3 all time rushing. That's incredible right now. Nobody would have thought this coming into the NFL with 2 torn ACLs, all the issues he had. My prediction is he's going to have 100 yards rushing, and he's going to break the record against Cleveland this weekend. Book it. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. Frank Gore is going to be the number 3 rushing yard in the NFL all time. Right?
There's enough to go around in this game. I think they'll run enough that
they're going to be giving it to Singletary. They'll be giving it to Gore. It's going to be a great night. They both have big games.
It is weird though how you could actually change your game plan just to get a guy stats, but that's
incredible, right?
Yeah, it is kind of funny. So to answer your question, Jake, I think we are at a place right now where I stand behind Darryl Henderson having top 5 to 10 running back potential in fantasy from a talent perspective. I stand by it. You will not have me move an inch. I'm not giving up any ground on that argument with anybody. The problem is the situation. They're not using him. There's opportunity to use him. They still fail to use him and utilize him fully. And do I trust, let's say if Gurley's out this game, there's a 50-50 chance they use a lot of Henderson. There's a 50-50 chance it's all of a sudden all freaking Malcolm Brown. And you're going to be like, what the hell? Why would you not give him a shot? Henderson's special. I don't know where the coaching staff stands. And until we see him have that 80-yard touchdown run, which could happen on any one of his
anytime
carries.
He can break it up, yeah.
We won't get a feel for that coaching staff leaning in the direction of, hey, we need to get him on the field more, see what we got as far as this guy's future. This could be a thing where in week 16 and 17, in one of the weeks he won't even be able to use him in 17. But in week 16 and 17, he goes crazy because they're like, we're going to use Henderson and just see what he's got.
You never know.
But it could be that long till we see him deliver, and then we walk into the offseason talking about Darryl Henderson. I don't know what the coaching staff will do. I can only tell you, Jake, that I see a top 5 to 10 running back that's being misused, and I hope to God they give him a chance.
They will soon, because Todd Gurley's not going to last forever. I think they're going to try to use Gurley a lot more now because they've rested him up. They're going to see what they have in him, and if his knees don't hold up, it's Henderson. I'll go on Henderson. So I don't know. It's tough because you got this guy that's being paid a lot. He's supposedly a top running back, but then he's got knee problems. So I'm sure he wants the ball, but then you got these running backs behind him that are great, and they want the ball. But as a coaching staff, you're forced your hand to pay the big money guy. So they're in a tough situation.
Torres with the super chat. Thank you, Torres. What do I use? What do I use? Vikings at Dallas or Giants at the Jets? I think I go Giants at the Jets. I'm not a big fan of those Jets, but I mean the Vikings could score. I guess it's just Dallas. I feel like is a little less prone to turn the ball over.
That's the safer pick. I agree.
in this one. And I think Darnold isn't impressing me at all. The Jets freaking feel like a miserable
It's like a bad
situation.
I think LSU can beat the Jets.
Yeah, and even though the Giants have struggled too, they still have a ton of talent. And I think in this game, Daniel Jones does really well. I think Tate, I think Barkley, I think all three of those guys do fairly well in this game. And then it comes down to the Jets forcing it and trying to get back in the game and throwing some picks and making some mistakes. So
yeah,
I lean that direction. But anything can happen, Torres. It's football.
It's football any given Sunday, right? But I honestly agree with you. Giants, I got Saquon on my team this week, and I'm hoping for a big-time game on Saquon. I think he's going to run all over the Jets. But I think the Jets will put up some fantasy points. The Giants aren't great themselves. But Golden Tate, I think, is going to be a big play this weekend.
Thanks for the super chat, Torres. And then Andrew super chatted just now. And Instagram, if you don't know it, I'm on youtube.com/thefantasyfootballshow. It's down there pinned at the bottom. It is the place to be because you're going to see the questions on screen. You can super chat. And if all of you don't know, super chatting is a way to get your question like immediately to the front of the line. Like as soon as I see a super chat come in, I answer that question. So it also supports the show and helps me grow it at a faster rate. So if you do super chat, it's appreciated, and it does get your question front and center. And Andrew just super chatted. Andrew, thank you so much. Do you agree with Jacobs gets Rookie of the Year? That I think that there's a strong possibility if he finishes the year on a tear, he would be the guy.
It's going to be close. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think Jacobs has a shot. But so does DK Metcalf right now. It's close. I think those two guys are your top two. And then McLaurin for the Redskins. But he's not getting a lot of hype because it's the Redskins. They're not doing great. But you got to put him in consideration.
Yeah.
It's halfway through the season. Whoever finishes out stronger has a chance. But
don't be shocked if Monty puts his hat in for that.
That's true.
Montgomery, if he finishes, at the rate he's going, or Singletary. I mean, it could happen. I don't think Singletary will get it, but I think Montgomery will be considered for it.
I think Jacobs does have a good chance though, because the Raiders are playing better than anybody thought. Unless you're a Raiders fan, nobody expected the Raiders to be as good as they are right now, and Jacobs is a big part of that. So I think he has a shot, and DK Metcalf moving forward. And if Russell Wilson is having the season he's having, Metcalf's only going to get better stats moving forward. So
yeah,
those two guys are my top two right now.
Thank you, Andrew, for the super chat. Juice has a question on screen. I've had it up here for a while. Guys, should I trade Hunter Henry and Damian Williams for Kelsey, or do I sit tight? I'll let you handle this first.
I like Kelsey moving forward because he gets Patrick Mahomes back. So I think Kelsey's going to return to his top tier kind of tight end status. And I think that it'll, improve his outlook looking forward, because the last couple of weeks without Mahomes, he took a shot right now. But I think that would be a good move. Kelsey getting Mahomes back is only going to benefit from that. That's my thoughts on it.
Mark my words. If I give you any advice, guys, that you want to, if there's anything you take in, and if you don't listen to anything else I say for the rest of the year, go get Pat Mahomes if for any reason you're able to get him. Go get Travis Kelce if for any reason you're able to get him. And I'm not saying necessarily go get Damian Williams. He could be in the mix too for this. Tyreek Hill you probably can't get because he's playing great. He's playing great without Mahomes, so I doubt anybody's going to sell him low. But these Kansas City's going to dominate every single team all the way into the playoffs. They may lose to New England. I think they're going to beat New England when they face New England later in the year. But that is the only team they will not absolutely run over from here on out. Their schedule is not that bad. And Mahomes is going to score a ton of fantasy points. Yes, Sand, I think 5 TDs tomorrow. I really believe Pat Mahomes is going to single-handedly win people fantasy leagues from this point forward if you're in the mix.
I think he's going to play with a chip on his shoulder because the injury. A lot of people are doubting him, and a lot of people are saying he's coming back too early. Patrick Mahomes is he? They want to see how he reacts to injury. With any player, you want to see how they react to an injury. This is big, and I think this is a statement week. He's going to come out razzle dazzle, like you said, 5 touchdowns isn't out of the question. I think Mahomes is going to come back and show that I'm the man. I'm Patrick Mahomes. This is why I'm the starting quarterback for this team and one of the MVP candidates. He's going to put his name back in the hat.
I think we lost Dr. Raj there for a second. We'll get him back as soon as he dials back in. Frake says, just did a couple posts. I hope more people start joining. Thank you, Frake. Are you talking about on Reddit? If so, thank you. I appreciate it. Hopefully I don't get a bunch of jokers coming in. And speaking of Joker, Hazelnut on screen here says, you seen Joker, Smitty, and Dr. Raj? I don't know what Joker you're talking about. If you mean the movie, because Joker has another nickname of someone. I have not yet seen it, but I think I will be watching it soon. Instagram, get on over to youtube.com. It's right down there. youtube.com/The Fantasy Football Show. And if you guys want to get your question to the front and center of the show, super chatting is allowed. It is allowed. Juju, Pascal, or Gallup standard. Ollie, it could go any way, man. This is a really, really tough group to rank because on any given week, Juju could rebound. I think that in this one I would go Pascal, but that's me. I think Pascal has a really good game and is a really good wide receiver 3 moving forward. Thanks again, Frake. Next question. Mahomes Sand says Mahomes 5 TDs at least on Sunday. Damn straight, boy. Come on, peeps, wipe your feet. Let's see if we should answer. Hello.
I'm back.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome. How's it going?
You're live, by the way.
Yeah,
this call may be recorded for quality assurance purposes.
All right, man. Yeah, technical difficulties plenty tonight.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We do such a long show, man. It's not even a big deal. And you, again, stay as long as you want. You are welcome to stay as long as you want. I just want you to feel like you don't have to be here for
I'll enjoy my time on the show.
It goes quick. It goes real quick.
It goes quick, man.
We're at 42 minutes already. It's crazy.
Already.
But we do have 94 people in the room. 42 thumbs up. It's not a bad ratio, but I would appreciate it if you would. And I have Roger. Roger could have asked any question. He could have said, Smitty, I got the spotlight here. Let me see if you can help my fantasy team. But instead, Roger says, come on, people, wipe your feet, which Dr. Raj means hit the like button on your way in.
Thumbs up, man.
But Roger, look at that, using his question to just promote the show. And I appreciate that.
I like that. I like that. That's a good name, too, Roger. It's a very good name.
Yeah.
I like it. That's a nice thing to do. Promote the show. That's what we're all about.
Can you trust starting David Johnson over Damian Williams? It's a great question because Damian absolutely went nuts in week 9. But do we trust that long break-off touchdown that really got majority of his work? Or do they say, hey, we got to use this guy. Pat Mahomes is back. Pat Mahomes likes him. We want to keep Pat Mahomes from scrambling. Let's give him the guy that had huge success in the offense at the end of the year. The last 6 games, including 2 playoff games, but the last 6 games, Damian Williams had over 100 yards per game and had 10 TDs in that 6-game span. Why on earth have they not given him the ball? And what is your take on this, DJ or Damian? Who you going? And why? Talk about DJ.
I'm going Damian on this move because just like you said, you got to trust a guy that can help take pressure off Mahomes. Like I just talked about before I had to, before I crashed out of here. Mahomes coming off an injury. The best way to keep him protected and limit injury is lean on the running back, and I think that's going to really help him. Limit that injury. It's going to help the offense. Keep everybody honest. I think that's the way to go. And I still think DJ, I don't trust him with the backfield that the Cardinals have. And, with Kenyon Drake last week, he came out of nowhere and really showed that he can do well in this offense. I think they're going to have to split some carries. They're going to have to give him some carries. He's the hot hand. Just because DJ's DJ doesn't mean he's guaranteed 20 carries.
I'm not ready to start DJ yet. And I know I could live to regret that because in this Cardinals offense, it's proven that Edmonds, 150 yards, 3 TDs. Drake goes absolutely bonkers. And if DJ's getting all the work, DJ will go bonkers. But will they do the old DJ's such a warrior? We just, he took one for the team and just decided to dial back a little. Like, we don't know what they're going to tell us post game about why
it's
DJ
hard.
didn't get the touches we had thought he was going to get. So I wait on DJ. Damian feels exciting enough. I think you made great points. Yeah, I'm gonna roll Damian, but I'm a little fearful telling you that because Dr. Raj, I can't tell you how many questions I answer.
I'm sure.
Especially on my Ask Smitty sleeperu.com feature where you can ask me a question if you subscribe to sleeperu.com. But I can't tell you how many questions I answer all day long. I help a lot of people, but it's one question I miss, like this one, that even if I have Damian Williams and I'm winning 4 or 5 leagues because of it, or I'm sorry, David Johnson, who I don't own any shares of. But for example purposes, if I had owned, let's say, David Johnson in 4 or 5 leagues and I was winning my leagues and DJ does really well, it's a moment like this that I remember that ruins my entire Sunday. All I do is sit there going, that one, not the hundreds of people that got good advice, the one person that didn't get the right advice from me. It's funny. It means I care. But it drives me nuts. I don't know why I can't separate that with a few of the calls that I help people make or don't help them make.
No, I hear that too because I get tons of people ask. I mean, sometimes people ask me certain questions, the same thing, and it's that one question that you didn't get that kills you over the questions that you did get right.
Yeah.
All the hundreds of questions you did get right. Yeah, no, I feel it, man. But honestly, I'm very confident in that answer of Damian Williams. I think he's the move to pick here, and you're right. DJ could definitely. Go off for the Cardinals because they've shown that whoever starts goes crazy. But with his injury history, they would be smart to kind of limit his carries and use Drake, who last week showed he can do well in this offense. And again, I think they'll utilize him with some bubble screens here. You throw him in the flats, things like that. So I'm pretty confident about the answer, but it is one of those things that could burn you. You're right, but I'm pretty confident. I just don't trust DJ. Give him another week. If he goes crazy this week, then you're like, okay, now we know they're
yeah. I got a super chat here from let's see here. Okay. Mark, super chat. Thank you, Mark. Mark, I appreciate you, man. You're such a good addition to this show. Mark says trade Lockett and Henry for Kelsey and Robert Woods. So trade Lockett, and I assume you mean Hunter Henry because there's Kelsey involved. I'm going to assume. Let me know if I'm wrong, or I can answer it both ways. If it's Derrick Henry, it's Lockett and Derrick Henry by a mile, so I just answered that. But if it's Lockett and Hunter Henry, which I assume for Kelsey and Robert Woods, man, I'm on the fence on that one.
I'm on the fence too.
Locket's a top 10 wide receiver right now.
He's killing it, and with Russell Wilson having the season he's having, it's hard to take away. Hard not to want Lockett on your team.
I think I go Lockett and Henry because Hunter Henry is playing good enough. I worry about him getting hurt, but he's a top 5 tight end, so I think I go Lockett.
I'll go with Lockett and Henry because as much as we just talked about Kelsey playing, at the top again with Mahomes, Robert Woods to me is the weak link on that, and you're going to get more value with Henry and Lockett than you're going to get with Kelsey and Woods because then you might be fishing for another receiver when Woods isn't playing up to par, So
yeah,
I think that's the best side of that deal.
Okay, and then Ozzy has a super chat. Ozzy saying, let's see, Kittle owner, play Everett or see how Sunday matchups play out and pick up the guy you were, I think, recommending. Okay. Who was it you were recommending?
Ross Dwelly.
Yeah, I think that's who he wants.
There's another guy that could be a good stream. Hollister, Seattle tight end. He's a good stream. So one of those two guys, Dwelly or Hollister. Honestly, I'd probably roll with them, but that's a tough question because Kittle really is going to kill a lot of lineups right now. But I would probably roll with Dwelly. I feel he's going to have a big game this week. But what was it, Everett, right?
Yeah, Everett. Everett's a decent play, but he's not like gonna win you the league or anything either, or the week. But
if you're good, the rest of your team and all you need is a few points from him, you go start him. But if you need someone that if you need big time production at your tight end spot, he's not the play.
But you're pretty confident. Like if you had to put a percentage on it that Kittle doesn't play, what's the percentage?
About 100%.
Okay, so in that case, Ozzy, if I'm trusting that percentage and it's his opinion, don't make your own decision. But I would say with that, I would start Everett because you already know, and I like Everett over Hollister. I like Everett over Dwelly. So
Okay.
why not just make the move in
That's
advance?
safe. That's the safe play. I agree with that. If you want to play it safe, that's the move
Because
to
I
go.
trust Dr. Raj on that. If he's saying that he has good information that Kittle's out now to the point, make your own decision, because what if he starts working out and he feels good all of a sudden there's a change in direction. He wouldn't know that, but what he knows right now, he's most likely not going to play.
Like I said, I'd be
a
surprised
yeah.
if he plays on Monday. But again, if he wakes up Monday, because they're going to go and do treatment, so they don't have practice tomorrow. They had 3 practices. On a Monday night, your practices are a little different. You go Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Typically, it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So they had a bonus practice also on Tuesday because they had such a long break because of the Thursday night game. He didn't practice in any 4 of those games. If this was a regular week, and they didn't practice on that Friday practice, they would have ruled him out today for Sunday. But today's the Friday practice, which today's the equivalent of the Friday practice.
Yeah.
He didn't practice today, Saturday, so they would have they're probably going to rule him out for Monday. He is going to get treatment tomorrow, but and Shanahan said, he says, I'd be surprised. He goes, if anything changes Monday morning, then we'll change it. But I don't see it to change that in one day. I don't care how good of a therapist you are. I mean, I'm good, but I can't get this man to play in a day like that.
Yeah.
So, again, they're being careful with him.
So use your own judgment. Know that he could have a amazing day, and they just be like, okay, now he might play. But for right now, I play Everett. Tabrin says, thank you for the super chat. Tabrin with the super chat. Traded DJ and Waller for Sony and Godwin. You have Hunter Henry at tight end. Running backs are Barkley, Fournette, Singletary, Madison. Wide receivers are Mike Thomas, Gallup, and a hurt T.Y. Hilton. Traded DJ and Waller for Sony and Godwin. I like that because I don't trust DJ, and Godwin's playing like a top 5 wide receiver.
To me, the reason that Godwin makes that trade, Godwin is playing out of his mind, and that you just got, Godwin's top 10 receiver, maybe top 5 receiver this year. Yeah.
Yeah. Will Brissett be good fill in for Rodgers next week on the bye? If Brissett's healthy, he's a good play for any team, any bye situation, I think. But he's got to be back.
Brissett.
Yeah, you love Brissett.
My concern is that MCL injury now. That's a tough injury, man.
Yeah, again, it is most painful that I've found of the knee ligaments. When mine's still sore. I tore my ACL almost 20 years ago on my left leg, and my MCL from that, my knee feeling like it went like that. My MCL to this day gets sore. It's crazy.
It's a tough injury, and I think that he might. I know they're saying he'll miss this week for sure. I think he can miss next week. So if you're trying to stream him for a bye, I wouldn't count on him coming back next week. MCL's a tricky injury. That's at least a couple weeks, That's a tough one, and it's going to be painful when he comes back. It may limit him a little bit too. So, and I'm a big Brissett guy, you know that. So that's a tough
Thanks
one.
for the super chat, Tabrin. And then Marco's got one. Number 1 sleeper for a wide receiver for the playoffs. Much love. Marco, I've talked about Pascal. Pick him up if for any reason he's available. Let me take a look at my sleeperu.com rankings and tell you some deeper guys. I'm going to name a couple different ranges for you because I'm not sure how deep you're talking or if you're talking about trading for a guy. But thank you for the super chat, Marco. And I will say, so looking at my sleeperu rankings, I'll say that McLaurin's got cut in a lot of leagues, and it has to be a larger league to see that happen. But McLaurin's been there. Robbie Anderson's been there, and he's got potential, but also bust potential as well.
He's got big bust potential.
Trying to think, Cole Beasley could be picked up. I don't know if he's going to save
That's what I was thinking. I'm thinking Cole Beasley, John Brown, those two guys.
AJ Brown,
yeah.
I think he's going to go. He's going to do really well.
I think he is. Now that he has Tannehill thrown to him, I like AJ. AJ's a big body receiver. He has the potential to be a big-time player in the league. First 2 weeks, he really flashed his potential, and I think he could come back to that status. I like AJ Brown as a big-time. He's a really deep-time sleeper. I like AJ, and I do like Terry McLaurin. If McLaurin's getting dropped, I would go and try to pick him up. He's got skills all day too.
Yeah. Okay, so Pascal isn't there, says Marco. Marco, give us a list of the top 10 players that are there.
Yeah, shoot them out.
That might help us really get a feel for a way to help you. Is MT still here? MT, are you here? If MT's here, I want to make you a mod, MT. You can handle some stuff for me tonight. And where's the clan? Why isn't the clan here? Maybe he's getting some snacks.
Yeah, did you ever load that snack from last week?
Yeah, I did. It took a while. I don't know why.
Oh, man.
But, okay, Joey with the super chat. Joey, thank you very much. Joey is asking, and if you want a super chat, I'm not going to stop you. It'll definitely get your question front and center. Joey says, I traded, let me expand super chats from now on so people can see it.
Yeah.
Joey traded Jones. I assume you mean Aaron Jones because you have Kamara on the other side of this. Aaron Jones,
yeah.
Hilton for Kamara. Any regrets? No. I love Kamara.
Way.
Yeah, I love Kamara. I like Aaron Jones a lot, but he's like that. I like Aaron Jones as a top 5 to 10 running back at value that was invested that was nowhere near top 5 to 10 running back. When we're talking about if I was drafting today, I would not draft Jones as high as I would draft Kamara. I would draft Jones with a little bit of caution, which would be like 6, 7, 8, something like that for running backs. But I would not take him. I would take Kamara in the top 4 or 5-ish, range. So great trade.
I think it's a good trade. Like we talked about earlier, if they missed it, I think Kamara is going to have a huge second half of the season, and I think he won that trade. And Ty is dealing with injuries, so you really gave up one guy, really.
Mcl says I've been here for 35 minutes. My bad. I hadn't seen a message. There's a lot of messages to go through, Mcl. So thank you for the super chat. And Mcl is in the house. Everybody knows. I'm putting Mcl's message right here.
What's good, Mcl?
Someone explain. Oh no, there's a Dr. Raj question here that I forgot about. Double A wants to know at RSF 49ers, what are the symptoms of bursitis in your shoulder?
The biggest symptom of any type of bursitis is swelling and pain and stiffness, but swelling's the biggest one. If you have a lot of swelling localized at the area, that's a big sign. Swelling is always going to be the biggest sign of any type of bursitis. When you see the word itis, you think swelling, and it's localized to the area.
Is this the same kind of feeling you'd have if you predicted big things for Baker Mayfield heading into 2019? Is it a similar feeling of swelling in your nad region?
Yeah, it's swelling and pain and stiffness of trying to think of that man.
Or limpness. It could be either, right?
Yeah, right. No, the biggest symptom for any type of bursitis injury is going to be swelling. So if there's swelling at the area, you may have some bursitis, but it's localized to where the bursa sac was. So, wherever that area that you're having that pain, the swelling, you want to localize, and you can always look it up. But there's what's called a bursa sac. So that's where, when you have like a joint, that's where it'll help glide the joint. But if there's swelling in that joint cavity, it's going to cause it to be stiff. So that's why I'm saying there's going to be stiffness there. And when you have swelling and stiffness, that's where the pain originates from. So swelling is the biggest symptom.
Hey, MT, I made you a mod, MT, so you're a moderator. And I trust your judgment to warn people before you create any, craziness. But if someone's like putting their question 400 times in a row, Devlin, you're one of those. Please don't do that. I'm giving MT as well as the other mods in here, the permission to time you out, to put you in timeout, and then give you another shot. So, James, you're doing it already. MT, toss him in timeout. James, you got to learn, man. I've already warned you like 500 times, and you just put is Mcl is Mcl Saquon. It's too many times. I feel like I'm yelling at my child.
Right? We
MT? MT, there you go. MT's my new mod. MT's got me, he says. Okay. So, gotcha. Devlin, just stop. Let's see here. Thank you for answering that question.
Yeah, thanks for the question. That was a good
Yeah, if
question.
you guys have any questions for Dr. Raj,
Please,
just
I love injury. I can answer any injury question, man. That's my forte.
yeah, okay. Keith says I have Devontae Adams as my wide receiver 1. Who should I start as my wide receiver 2? Oh God, you're looking at this guy right here with this uniform that he has on right here. Emmanuel Sanders, Golden Tate, or Christian Kirk. Thank you, he says. So in your San Francisco 49er uniform.
Okay. I'm going to take away my bias because my
Okay.
gut wants to tell you go Emmanuel Sanders, Super Sanders. He's the play of the week. But Golden Tate has a golden matchup this week. Golden Tate, I think you put him on that roster, you're going to feel confident starting him. I mean, the matchup he has is just, it's amazing.
I'm all about Tate this week.
I'm all about me too. Yeah, that's the Spider-Man point, right? Spider-Man point.
Yeah, Tate's gonna have a big game. I think the Giants in general are gonna do really well in this one.
I think so. I think that's the pick of the week right there. But that's not to say that if you start Sanders, you're gonna be disappointed because Garoppolo and Sanders have had instant chemistry, instant impact. He's only played with them for 2 games, and he's already become their top wide receiver. And without Kittle in the game, that's going to elevate him even more. But at the end of the day, if I had to pick between those two, I go with Tate. I'm actually thinking maybe Emmanuel Sanders over Devontae Adams. Call me crazy, but I understand he's got Aaron Rodgers. That's the pick. I would go Devontae and Tate. But don't be surprised if I've been talking about it with Adams and that turf toe.
Yeah, I'm all about Adams as a good buy low. I think there's risk that for him to get back to on track a little slower than people would like. But
yeah, I think so.
But I'm all about buying him. I think that what people need to read into last week is that Green Bay did essentially nothing for the first half. So everything that Green Bay did was like in 2 quarters essentially. And for 9, 10, 11, whatever, how many targets Adams had, it was a boatload for literally a half of work. And I think people need to take that into consideration and realize that had he played a full 4 quarters of good play, he would have had a really good game as his first game back.
True. That's true.
So just keep that in mind. And then thank you for Marco for the super chat. Marco, I'm still waiting for the wide receivers. Maybe you posted it. If you could post the top 10 wide receivers in your league available, I can tell you who I think you should grab. I still have your question up, and I'm going to keep it up to remind me. So I'm going to look for that. Double A has another question. He's the one that asked you about the bursitis. And then Ozzy's got a question. Ozzy and Double A, thank you for the super chat. Thank you, guys. So the super chat from Double A right now is thanks, Raj. Smitty 7-2. Thank you. Double A 7-2. He did a super chat just to say thank you to you.
Hey man, appreciate it.
And to tell me he's 7-2. Partially, it's a lot of it's to do with you, Double A, but partially to do with his time here at the Fantasy Football Show. All right, Ozzy super chatted. Thank you, Ozzy. I'm gonna make these questions bigger from now on, so that you guys can all see. Let's see, Ozzy. Ozzy says, trade Cooper Kupp for Kamara. Yes, I would. I like Kupp. Kupp's been doing good. I admit I've doubted Kupp more than I should. Take a lap on me. Bad Smitty. But I still take Kamara all day long over Kupp because he's on his way back and he's a top 5 overall. Top 6, top 7 overall pick, easy.
Cooper Kupp for
right
Kamara.
Now.
That's a pretty good trade both ways, really. But I think, like you said, Kamara coming back, I think he's really gonna step it up and become one of the best players of the league in the second half of the season. But man, Cooper Kupp, I think right now you can sell him so high.
So I didn't give you the whole story, and I didn't even end up finishing reading the question yet. So let me back up a touch.
Okay.
He's gonna tell me his team now. So that was my player for player evaluation. But now that I'm reading the question, it still may be the same answer. I don't know. My wide receivers are Julio and Tyreek. His running backs are Christian McCaffrey, Cook, Bell, and Monty.
Does he play like a 4-man league?
Apparently with his grandma. And Ozzy takes he doesn't, he just like unleashes holy hell on his family and doesn't even care. I think in this situation, you don't necessarily need Kamara as much as...
You don't need him.
But then again, like, here's what I'd do. I'd take this trade for Kamara because I think Kamara is probably the highest you could get in terms of running backs for Cooper Kupp. I don't think you're going to get Zeke. I don't think you're going to get anybody above Kamara, but Kamara's right there with those guys. So I would make this trade, but I'd maybe line up another trade and get rid of Bell and Monty if you could. And you know me, I love Monty. But if you could try and trade Bell or Monty or both for another elite wide receiver that is as good as like Mike Thomas or something, then you have yourself just a completely upgraded lineup all over.
That team's dominating, but if your goal is to just obliterate your opponents, definitely make the trade, be confident with it. But I agree, if you can ship Bell and maybe move him for a better receiver to even out losing Cup, then you're in good hands. But really, does he need to make the trade? No, it's a luxury move. But, I mean, if you want to make the trade, it's not a bad move. And Kamara, I think, moving forward, going to have a heck of a season moving forward.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat. And then Marco finally got back. Not only did Marco tell me who the wide receivers are, he does another super chat. Thank you, Marco.
Man.
Marco is amazing.
Really is.
Attention to detail. LOL, wide receivers available for sleepers. Parker, Tate, Crowder, A.J. Brown, non-PPR, also a Niner fan here. Dr.
Come on, man. Bang, bang, Niner gang.
Yeah, Dr. You the man, Niner gang all day, he says. So
all
that's
day,
your bet. You guys just became broskies, dude.
I just felt like we've known each other for years, man.
Did you just become best friends?
Yeah, I think we did.
Marco, I would say, as we just talked about, Tate, we like a lot this week. A.J. Brown, I like. A.J. Brown is like a mini Calvin Johnson in the making. I don't know that he has the QB situation to support that claim.
No, yeah. I mean, if he had an elite quarterback throwing him the ball,
yeah,
he'd be tearing it up right now.
But he will catch enough passes and become really, really flex worthy, I think, down the stretch here. I really like A.J. Brown a lot. He was my number 2/1, him and N'Keal Harry, wide receiver in early scouting and ranking process, from January to the draft. Then after he landed in his current situation in Houston or in Tennessee, he kind of dropped in my rankings because I don't like his QB situation. But I think he's going to develop. He will get the ball. He will become a really good fantasy wide receiver moving forward. And mark my words, he has the talent to become a top 10 fantasy wide receiver. We got to see that situation get better for him. But Tate, to me, if that's Golden Tate, it could be Auden Tate. I'm assuming it's Auden Tate. I bet you it's Auden Tate. I bet you it's not Golden Tate. If it is, I would go either A.J. Brown or Crowder. Do you like any of those guys in particular? Parker, Tate?
A.J. Brown, like you said. So when I was doing the draft scouting, when I was on my page about the Niners, I mean, I was high on A.J. A.J. was one of the guys I was hoping that, the Niners got. I know Shanahan met with him. My top 5, I had N'Keal Harry, I had A.J. Brown, I had Deebo Samuel. Those are 3 of my top 5 guys. And I've been a big fan of A.J. He's big. He's got the route running on top of the size. He has all the tools it takes to become a big-time receiver in this league, like you said. Calvin Johnson, I see it too. He just needs to have a quarterback that can get him the ball. I think his situation has improved with Tannehill, and I think moving forward, he's a good player to have for the second half of the season.
Yeah, I really like A.J. Brown a lot.
I like AJ.
Thank you for that super chat, Marco.
Nolan, hey, go Niners, Marco.
Yep. And Nolan with the super chat. Real quickly, we have another one. Carl says, Niners are just too lit this season. Love it. Carl.
I like these people, baby.
Yeah, Carl. Nolan is asking, trade Singletary for Galladay and Freeman. I assume you mean Devonta Freeman. If you mean, I'll answer it both ways, Royce Freeman or Devonta. I love Singletary, man, but if you need a wide receiver, Mendoza, this is the trade to make. I think Galladay is a freaking grown man maturing in front of your eyes, turning into a beast, and he's only going to continue to do what he's doing. So he's a low-end wide receiver 1 trapped in value that seems to be in wide receiver 2 territory. But Singletary I love. So if you need a running back, Singletary is the call. If you need a wide receiver, Galladay is the call. These guys are like this to me. So it's position need, team need that decides this one for me. What do you think, Dr. Raj?
I'm on the same boat. Both of those guys are very serviceable for their position. Galladay, man, he's like you said, he is just developing so fast in between our eyes. If you need that position, go for him. But Singletary, you can't be mad with that pick. To me, it's kind of a wash, but they're both good players in their own right. I definitely see it the same way as you. It's a wash to me. Both great players, and it's a positional need, is like you said.
Yeah. So thank you for the super chat. And Christopher, thank you for the super chat, Christopher. Christopher's question is Tate or Watkins full PPR. I assume you mean Golden Tate. So I'm going to say Golden Tate. I think Dr. Raj answered that one already. He loves Golden Tate too. Yeah. I'm not sure if you like Watkins more, but I think Watkins is kind of like you're either going to get a big game or he's going to drop nothing on you. So
yeah, he's like a roller coaster. He's boom or bust. It's either here or there. And right now, Tate, I think is the better pick right now.
Yeah, I agree. And then Christopher, we already got that one. I think I'm caught up on the super chats. If I'm not, please yell at me, and I will get to it. I have a couple injury questions for you.
All right, here we go.
So, traded Aaron Jones and Hilton, already got that one. Well, this one's on an injury question. I'll start with this one. Mikey is asking, is Dr. Raj single? I'm asking for a friend. Haha, JK, you guys are awesome.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it, man. And I am single, so,
Bang, bang, Niner gang.
Bang, bang, Niner gang. Yo, real quick, I want to talk about, my catchphrase, bang, bang, Niner gang.
Yeah.
The whole Niner community, knows this phrase. I've been using it for years and years and years, and it's kind of become up in popularity. This weekend, E40, the rapper E40, he dropped a song called Niner Gang, and at the beginning of the lyrics, it says, bang, bang, Niner Gang. I was I don't know if I was upset or I was happy. I was kind of both at the same time because I've been trying to trademark it, but I just never got to it. And now he dropped the song, so I don't get any,
I feel the same way about the trade calculator when I came out with that in 2003/4. Not patenting that was
it's like
a big
at least I wish he would have called me for the vocals because I would have came on the track and dropped some vocals for E40. But it's all fun. But it's the big theme that this season, and everybody's using it, and it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. How does Dr. Raj? This is Jake with a super chat. Thank you, Jake. How does Dr. Raj feel about Thielen? How you feeling on Thielen?
This is a good question. I talked about him last week, and if you were on last week, I said I do not like his injury. I do not like a hamstring injury. Like you said the other day, Thielen's not healing. Hamstring injuries are very crippling for any player, but especially a wide receiver because that's going to limit his cutting, his explosiveness, his lateral ability, everything really that a wide receiver has to do. It's going to really slow him down. And hamstring injuries can be lingering. They can be pesky, and that can cause him to miss more time than you would really want. I said it last week. I don't see him really doing much in the game, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got hurt. And sure enough, he re-aggravated the hamstring injury. If I have Thielen, I'm trying to find a way to trade him right now. I love Thielen. I'm a big Thielen guy. I love his story, how he came up. And
Z-Man says, don't lose that love in Thielen.
Yeah, don't. That's a good one. That's a good one. But honestly, if I have ability to trade him right now, I would trade him just because hamstring injuries can be very crippling moving forward. So it's a tough one.
Okay, James is back from his timeout that MT, I think, put him in. James comes back strong and says, hello, next message, I'm back. Why was I in timeout? James, you're in timeout, I think, because you are doing repetitive messages and muddying up the chat. People get upset when the chat gets muddied, and MT's got a short leash on you. So be prepared to get yanked if you don't, dial it back a little bit. How is Connor's injury? Do you know anything about that, Dr. Raj?
Yeah, we talked about it last week also that, it was a shoulder injury, and it's one of those things that's going to limit him, and he's out again this week. And we said it last week. I wouldn't be surprised if he misses more than one game, and he is again. So Samuel moving forward, I would keep a strong leash on him if you have Connor on your team. If you had him, I hope you handcuffed him.
Yeah, Samuel.
That's an injury. He could even miss next week again because that's a very a tough injury
I
that can.
I freaking love Jalen Samuels is on my bold predictions. I've had a lot of bold predictions that have
You've been
yet to
killing
come
it,
to
man.
fruition. Yeah, but a lot of them had yet to come to fruition until the last couple of weeks. It's been frustrating.
It takes a little time, though. NFL season's a grind. You got to wait around for injuries. But Connor, that's a scary, little injury. The way they use him, what I talked about last week is the way he plays. With his head down, he's a power back. He's one of those guys that really uses, his power in it to kind of get through that line. And with the shoulder injury, that's going to limit you. It's going to take some toll out of what he can do. And also, as a pass catcher, if you got shoulder injuries, it's going to help make it harder for you to catch out of the backfield. So that's a tough injury for him. Keep an eye on that. If you got Samuel on your team, you're a happy guy.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got a question here from Seclan, and I've had it on my screen for a while here. Seclan, sorry about that. Smitty, Gurley was the number one running back all last year, but come playoff time, Derrick Henry was the number one running back. It was on most people's waivers. Who is this year's fantasy Henry?
Ooh.
Okay, and I actually went on Reddit, and somebody asked me a question. Hey, Smitty, who's the guy that can go from like nothing, like literally on the bench of his team and on waiver wires to becoming a top 5 running back? And I was like, there's one running back that has that rags to riches story, and it's Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry didn't do it right away. He did it like another game later. And so I naively went back to Reddit thinking like, oh, dude, these guys are going to finally, acknowledge something nice. And it was like I got blasted even more. Like, he didn't do well the next week. You can't say you called this one or whatever. Like, Reddit was all pissed off. So I did call that last year, Seclan, and I think Derrick Henry was one of the great late calls there. But I'd say this week or this year, I'm not saying Kalen Ballage has that kind of upside, but he's a guy that's on waivers right now that you can pick up. Waivers, there aren't a ton of guys that have that potential because we're really late in the season. I don't see a lot of players that have. I mean, Darryl Henderson, if he's available, I think definitely has that type of appeal, and he might definitely be cut in a lot of leagues. Going deep into the rankings here, trying to see if I can find a name of a guy that might be there. Tony Pollard, if let's say something happened to Zeke, would go on a tear for people. Jalen Samuels is no longer on waivers. He was that guy, potentially. We might get him for just a game or two that was on waivers weeks ago. I don't think Ronald Jones has that kind of appeal, but Ronald Jones was a hot pickup this week.
Yeah.
Alexander Madison, if he's still there, he's there in a lot of leagues, like 40-50% of leagues he's available. And some of that has to do with roster size. If your rosters are really small and you have like 2 bench running backs, you sometimes can't roster a guy like Alexander Madison. But he has that rags to absolute top 5 running back riches appeal, as does Darryl Henderson, as does Kareem Hunt. There's more names than I guess I thought, like if I'm going that deep. And I'd say really, Miles Sanders could have that, but he's kind of picked up in a lot of leagues. Chase Edmonds got dropped in a lot of leagues. Who knows what happens there? But those are the biggest names I can come up with Henderson, Madison, and who was the other one? There's Pollard. And you got any of those?
Jones, like you said, but if he was the big pick this weekend, Ronald Jones, I think, is going to have that ability to kind of hit maybe be a big time pickup out of nowhere and help your roster a lot. I like him, but if he may have already been picked up because people were really streaming him up this week.
Yeah.
Pollard maybe. It's hard. You're right. It's kind of I like Ballage though. Like I think Ballage.
He's so big, dude. Have you seen him? He's like he looks like he's a monster. He's a monster. So Ballage is a guy you should pick up in your league if he's available. Just grab him.
I think at this point, in this late into the season, I think he's the only one that has like that capability to say, "Oh my God, you got this guy out of nowhere," and then he can drop 20 points for you on a weekly basis.
But Madison, Henderson, Tony Pollard all have that kind of appeal too. Jimmy G is in the house here.
Jimmy G. Good?
He super chatted. Thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy, it's an honor having you here, and I hope you do well this week.
Feels good, baby.
Yeah, feels good, baby. Need to flex Jalen Samuels, Devin Singletary, Chris Carson. Carson is a lock. You put Carson in there. Although this is a tough matchup, as you would know. Bang, bang, Niner ganger.
So That is a tough matchup, but the Niners defense is susceptible against the run. The way they run their defense, the wide nine, there's gaps in that defense, and if you run through those gaps, they've showed the last couple of weeks after the Rams game, people have ran on them. So I think Carson's still a good play, even though it's a tough matchup. Carson is still a good matchup this weekend. I like Samuels. Moving forward.
Samuels is safer. The volume, because they have no other running backs essentially. Edmonds, but I think Samuels will get the volume. He's safer, but I feel like Singletary has more risk, like to score
definitely
4 or 5 points, where Samuels is going to probably guarantee you like 10 at least.
Yeah.
But Singletary could get 150 yards rushing and like a touchdown or two, so that ceiling's higher. So you kind of got to pick your poison. Do you want high upside with a lot of risk? Then Devin Singletary still hasn't got the right amount of. I don't have the confidence that they're going to absolutely 100% my life on the line use him properly, but I hope they do. I think they will. James says sorry for spamming. It's okay, bro. You got excited, but MT's got you on a leash. Posner, thank you for the super chat. Posner has a super chat. Thank you, kind sir. Does the Niners defense... Oh, this is another question for Dr. Raj. Does the Niners defense have the backfield to deal with Lockett, Metcalf, Gordon on Monday night?
Yeah, I think so. The secondary's been tops in the league. They've been great. And what happens with the secondary, a lot of it is dependent on the pass rush. So this is the thing. Russell Wilson's a great quarterback. He extends plays. But if the Niners pass rush can get up to Russell Wilson, it's going to change a lot of what they do. And the offensive line for the Seahawks is not that great. And I think with that pass rush, putting the pressure on there, I definitely think that the Niners can hang with them. Lockett's going to be the tough matchup. I think that Sherman can shut down DK Metcalf. He's smart. He's going to bump and run him, press cover. Lockett's probably going to get his. He's good. You can't deny Lockett. But to me, Josh Gordon, I don't think he really makes a big impact. He's been on multiple teams over the last couple of seasons. He's having to learn another offense. He's got explosive ability. We know what he brings to a team, but he really hasn't showcased that over the last couple of years. He's been in and out, dealing with all these issues over the last season with, being suspended, coming in. He really hasn't had his feet wet with the team over the last couple of years. The Patriots tried him out, didn't really work out. So I don't think Gordon's somebody we have to worry about, maybe as a decoy. The Niners secondary is underrated. If you actually look at the stats, Richard Sherman has the lowest passer rating against in the NFL. K'Wan Williams, the highest graded nickel cornerback in the league, and Emmanuel Mosley's played very solid. So I think it's going to be a big-time matchup, good secondary, good receivers. Do I think they can hang? Yes. But I think Lockett's still a good play regardless.
Yeah, I agree. And Seclan has a good question or good comment and question mixture here. I love Calvin Ridley this week. Last year, Ridley dropped 150 and 3. I'm not exactly sure on the stats on that one, Seclan, but I trust you on this. 150 and 3 TDs against the Saints. Any chance we see a similar production this Sunday with Lattimore covering Julio, and Ridley gets man-to-man against Eli Apple? I think that if you have Ridley, this is the week to start him. I do think he'll be very, 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 very good and reliable this week. And I don't feel like I was wrong. Ridley was on my bold predictions. I have 12 to 14 bold predictions every year, and Ridley was on one of them, and he has not delivered what he was supposed to be delivering at this point. I admit that, but I absolutely think he has the talent, no question about it. It's been situational. Matt Ryan struggled, but this is a situation where I believe he's going to shine, and then people are going to be talking about him again heading to the rest of the year as, hey, is this going to be the wide receiver 1 in Atlanta next year? He has that much talent. He is so good. He is such an amazing talent. Just completely hit with bad luck and flow of game and bad QBing. But yeah, start him in week 10 if you can. Find a way to, if you own him.
I agree. I want to add on that. Just like you, I'm a huge Ridley fan. Even since college, I was a huge Ridley fan. I think he has huge potential. But again, the biggest thing that you got to really realize in Atlanta is they've had a lot of quarterback issues. Matt Ryan comes back now, and I think that's definitely going to improve the stock for Ridley. Definitely, Jones is going to be, double team like usual, and that's going to hopefully increase Ridley's targets, things like that. But I definitely think that Ridley moving forward is a big-time player. He has huge potential. I agree on that. And with Matt Ryan coming back, that's only going to help him. That offense hasn't really done what they should have done all season, injuries and play calling, and it's been an unfortunate situation for that team.
Yeah. Double A, good question, Seclan. Double A, Lat Murray, Drake at flex, or I have 4 third-tier wide receivers. Drake is an interesting play this week. I feel like it may be dumb, but they're Arizona with the running backs. They have been hard to predict, but the running backs are producing, so they are doing well with them.
Yeah.
I think that Lat Murray and Drake are very, very similar. I don't know that I could tell you with confidence that one will outscore the other. They feel like they're in the exact same boat this week. The starters coming back. They're both very TD capable, and they're both very capable of not getting enough touches. So I kind of feel like, man, what are you leaning on that if you had to pick?
That's a tough one because both of them, if they're starting running, if the guy that they were replacing wasn't there, they'd be big-time plays for the week, But now they both have someone coming back that's going to get the bulk of, split carries with them. I think Kenyon Drake may be a safer pick a little bit because I still think that they're going to give him some carries and he's going to get some plays out of the backfield that'll make him, valuable, especially in a PPR league. And Arizona, you really don't know what they do because Kings. This is the thing with their head coach. He's not the best game manager yet. Head coach as far as calling a game plan. He's a rookie. He's made a lot of mistakes as far as his game calling. But as far as a play caller and designing plays, he's very good as a play caller. Like I've seen some of the plays he's done, and I'm like, that's a pretty dang good play. And I think he's going to get creative enough to where he can use Drake, use DJ, get the ball to the receivers. I like Drake if I had to pick between those two, but not by a country mile. It's close.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I feel like Drake just coming off of such a big game. And given I have more doubt about DJ than I do Kamara. Kamara I feel really good about. So I probably lean Drake a little bit. I kind of like that. But Lat Murray might be safer. I think he's going to get enough work, whereas Drake could either get a ton or zero, and we don't know.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's either hit or miss.
Yeah.
And I think Lat will still get some, but with Kamara coming back, I think it's all systems go.
3 quick questions for you. Rapid fire on these 3.
Boom, let's go.
Danny, what are the doc's thoughts on Stafford's injury? And if you need to look that up or whatever, that's fine. I can also read it off to you.
Yeah, read off the injury to me.
And then could someone explain what's up with Evan Ingram's injury? Okay. So I can read both of those.
Read those up to me.
Up to date. Okay, so
I'll start with Ingram. I read it earlier, but give me the latest.
Yeah, let me read Engram first. So Evan Engram says Engram foot is out for Week 10 against the Jets. Sterling Shepard concussion will also be a spectator. Let me get to this real quick.
Let's see, I'm going to look him up real quick. Evan Engram.
This is foot. I don't know that we're being told a whole lot on his sprained foot or whatever, but I'll let you look up that.
Foot. Yeah, I'm looking up. I know I read earlier it was a foot injury. I was trying to look at what Adam Schefter had.
Yeah. And I'll look up Stafford.
Okay, yeah, here it is. So, Evan Engram, he's out this week. We know that. And he has a, let's see, foot sprain. So, okay, mid-foot sprain, and that's what I figured it was. So, foot sprains are tough. They can linger, and then that can cause injuries down the line like hamstring and knee because you're not really stretching your muscles out, and it can go up the kinetic chain is what we call it, up the chain of the muscles. So he's in a walking boot this week, and definitely when you're in a walking boot, you're not going to be anywhere near game playing time. A sprain can be anywhere from 2 to 6 to maybe 8 weeks depending on how severe the sprain is. That's the information they're not going to tell us, but it's a multiple week injury. I definitely think that moving forward, if you have Engram on your team, you may not want to trust him right now. You got to look at other options. That's the thing. Like I said, with this type of injury, it could lead into something else, like a hamstring injury. because everything's connected in the body, and
So
it's going to really cause him to miss multiple games, I think.
So Computer Bob wants to know, how long do you see him being out? Is it a 2-week thing or a week?
At least 2 weeks. At least 2 weeks, maybe 3, or more. I think it's at least 2 weeks. At least.
Okay. And Stafford, the most recent news on him, I guess, is just recently kind of developed, or this particular update. He's a real game time decision at this point. There's concern that Stafford's hip and back injuries could force him to miss Week 10 against the Bears. The Lions will test it out in pregame warm-ups and then make a decision. There's no real update for him unless you know anything else, but I don't really – I mean, it sucks because, we don't have any details, so we're forced to just kind of assume the severity of the back injury. We don't know in his hip.
So it's tough, and I was reading about this earlier because I got Stafford on my team. I wanted to get an update. So – last season, if you know, actually, Matt Stafford played through a broken back, but he didn't miss a start. So
yeah, that's crazy.
That's kind of crazy that he actually played through it. And I think a lot of these injuries now are kind of chronic issues that are leading to playing through that injury last season, especially the hip. That's what it tells me. The hip injury is probably something that's being caused because of the back. There's a lot of instability, a lot of weakness at the hip, and it's causing those injuries to recur. So, I mean, he's questionable. He's a tough guy. I mean, he's a really tough guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays because, he's a tough guy. But I don't really think it's a smart move to have him playing on your roster right now. I think he's going to be limited. It's going to really limit his mobility. He's going to be in a lot of pain.
It sucks for Galladay.
I know, it sucks. It's going to bring down everybody's value on that team. I think he's going to miss at least a week or two because this is a really crappy injury, a back and a hip. Well, if it was just one, I could see him playing. But I definitely think this is the definition of a game-time decision for the Lions. I wouldn't start him this week.
Maybe this affects some earlier conversations about trading for Galladay. I'm not saying I for sure would back out any of those deals that we talked about earlier, but it's something to think about if you're on the fence about trading for Galladay. If Stafford ends up missing time, then Galladay drops big time. That's what sucks is, man, when a QB injury happens, it hurts the receivers too. And hopefully he's okay. Jimmy G or Daniel Jones? Jarrett Frake wants to know, asking the doctor.
I think Jimmy's going to have a big week, but Daniel Jones is, again, matchup. Like we talked about earlier at Sanders versus Tate, the matchup for Jones is just too juicy to pass up. If I'm playing matchups and I need to pick one of those two guys because I'm guessing you're starting quarterbacks on a bye week or something.
Yeah.
I go Daniel Jones just on the matchup alone, man. That matchup to me is screaming 3 touchdowns, baby.
You know who has
good, baby?
You know who has a 2 TD potential matchup this week that people aren't seeing coming and they're considering benching this guy? I'll give you 2 guesses. It's a running back. He's not in a typical top 10 ranking, and I'll leave it at that. 2 guesses.
2 guesses. Let me see. Let's see. Oh, man.
Got a tasty matchup.
Trying to think of Marlon Mack.
I like Marlon Mack this week. I saw some people saying, why on earth would you start Marlon Mack this week? I like Marlon Mack this week.
Easy matchup, and their quarterback's not going to be risky. They're going to be running the ball.
They're going to run a ton. Marlon Mack is a very, very, very good buy low right now.
That's a good matchup this week. I don't know. Who is it? Who is it?
It's Mark Ingram against the Bengals.
Oh, I was actually thinking Engram, but I didn't go.
Yeah,
big matchup. Yeah, I think so.
Let me pull up the stats against the run because it's insane. You're
right. You're absolutely right. I think he's going to go off. It's going to be that big performance of the week, and you're going to be like, oh man, this does. Yeah,
everyone's going to be like, how did I not see 100 yards and 2 touchdowns coming?
Oh, him and Lamar are going to run wild. Are you kidding me? I think Lamar's having a 4 touchdown game this week.
All right, so let me pull up the stats here. Defense against the run. And everything's lagging when I live stream. That's why I need to change my setup a little bit so that I can do my damn intro when Dr. Raj is on. I need to be able to...
We're 0 for 5, man.
Yeah. Okay, rushing through week 9. Yards per game. The Bengals are in dead last. And so you have like Miami second to last with 150. You have Cleveland Browns 141, Chiefs 139, Redskins 136. It's all within like 4 or 5, 6 yards, And you have the Bengals up at 177.6. They surrender 177.6 yards per game. They also surrender 10 TDs, which it's got to be either tied for last. Let me just sort by.
That's going to be a big match. You're right. Ingram's going to go crazy. Lamar Jackson's about to have a good day. And I think play action. I'm expecting a play action touchdown to Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood. You and I are the same on that. Hollywood Brown, DJ Chark, and McLaurin, I think, I don't know that all three will bounce back on a tear for the rest of the remainder of the fantasy football season. But two of these guys out of the three are going to jump back into the wide receiver 2 conversation the rest of the year.
I'm a big-time guy on Hollywood, man. I think that Liz Frank injury kind of slowed him down to begin with, and he aggravated it, but now he's back, and they're cooking, man, and that's Lamar's guy.
Yeah, and so let's do speed round on some of these. We'll go quick.
All right, let's go.
So fast answer, one sentence answer for the next few minutes on these.
Okay.
All right? So it's going to be hard, but we're going to do it.
I know. I like to talk, but here we go.
Doug Peters is asking, Johnson or Drake rest of season at running back?
Oh, man. I'm going to have to go with Ken. I'm going to go Drake. I'm going to hit you with the surprise answer. Go Drake.
Okay. I'm going to say DJ only because he's back. He's supposed to be back, but I could get burned, and Dr. Raj could be pointing by himself in the coming weeks on the show. Seclan, Super Chat. Iced espresso, Lay's, chips. What about you and Dr. Raj? I think it's what he's asking. Yeah. I don't have any snacks on me. I should probably go get some. But
right now, if I needed to get one, I got the spicy Nacho Verde Doritos and some Gatorade right now. That's what I got right now.
Thank you, Seclan, for the super chat, updating us on your snacks. Dr. Raj, outlook on Stafford. We already got that one.
Yep.
Need a Kittle replacement.
We talked about maybe Ross Dwelly. We talked about maybe the tight end for the Seattle Seahawks. It's escaping my name. His name is escaping my head. Hollister, sorry.
Yeah, Hollister.
If Hawkinson's available, I would go pick up Hawkinson.
I like Hawk. Witten is an okay pickup.
Witten. There's one more tight end. He's on the bye this week, but I like him.
Noah Fant.
Noah Fant from Broncos. Ever since Sanders left to the Niners,
he's a beast, man. He's a beast.
A stud, man. It's those Iowa tight ends.
I liked him more than I liked Hawk, and then Hawk had the big week one, and then I got kind of sold on Hawk, but scouting and watching all the video and film on the two of them, I came out with Noah Fant being way ahead of Hawk.
I did
and
too.
Then he landed kind of in a crappier situation. I was like, okay.
Situation. I like Hawk because he's more of like the reason why I think Hawk got, he was drafted higher and he has the more value to an NFL team is his blocking. But as far as just pure receiver, no Fant's the man. Oh,
yeah.
Man, the stud. I watched a lot of Iowa last year.
Blake Jarwin isn't a horrible pickup. Goddard, if Goddard's available, is a really good pickup.
Goddard's a good pickup, yeah.
Gesicki. A lot of people are talking about Gesicki this week. I'm not as high on it as some people are, but he had like 90 yards or something last week.
That's a very deep pickup.
Yeah, so Gesicki is a good. Oh, sorry, we're not doing speed round. Speed round.
Yeah, speed round.
Justin says, Smitty, thank you. Should I start Zach Pascal or Tevin Coleman for flex? One sentence, go.
Ooh, okay, I'm going to go Pascal.
Nice.
Matchup.
I'm going to say, yeah, Pascal, even though that feels a little crazy to some people, I'm sure.
I know, it's going to feel crazy.
Keith.
Especially to me.
Yeah, to you. Like, look at your uniform you're wearing. It's like blasphemy.
But I'm a fantasy. I'm taking bias away when I'm.
Yeah, that's good. I like when you come in here. That's the way you're looking at it.
That's how
okay.
we're going to do it, baby.
Keith, I have Devontae Adams as my wide receiver 1. Who should I start as my wide receiver 2? Oh, wait, I already did that one.
I think we did this one. Emmanuel Sanders and that question, yeah.
MG Toe says, Legion says, should I drop Mixon for Balaj? No, you can't drop Mixon. I don't like Mixon. I doubt Mixon. I hate Mixon. I trade Mixon. I do, whatever. But That's like a running back 1-2 conversation. Balaj is like your flex play conversation. And
I wouldn't drop him for Balaj, but I would pick up Balaj somehow on my team and start him over Mixon.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sold. I don't like Mixon.
So Clan says it's Goddard. Sorry, Goddard. I was saying Goddard.
Goddard. I like Goddard. Sounds better.
I like Goddard better. I'm going with Goddard.
Yeah, I'm going Goddard.
T.Y. Hilton injury update. Do you have an update on that?
No, he's still going to miss at least another week or two. I mean, that's the thing that you just got to keep riding Pascal. Again, it's just one of those injuries that's going to keep lingering. And as far as I know, he's missing at least another week. So when he comes back, I think he's also going to be limited again. It's just like it's these wide receiver injuries, man. They really slow you down. When he comes back, it's going to take him time to kind of get back into his full shape. So I'm expecting him to miss at least one more week.
Jimmy G or Stafford, says Computer Bob. I think we might have answered that, or Dr. Raj has,
because I'm not sure if Stafford's really going to be playing this week. He's definitely a game-time decision. But even if he plays, I'm kind of iffy on him with his injuries.
Yeah. Brissett's dad says Ridley, low-range wide receiver 1 rest of season. Don't quote me, though. I'm quoting you, Brissett's dad. But I think that he's going to be a wide receiver 2 moving forward. I think he'll have a wide receiver 1 day tomorrow.
Who's that, Costco?
Calvin Ridley.
Oh, Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. But I would say he's not a wide receiver 1 moving forward. No, but you could get like sneaky good wide receiver 2 value out of him moving forward. But I wouldn't call him a wide receiver 1. That's a tall order for a guy even I love. But I think you'll see flashes of it. Like definitely could be wide receiver 1 material this week. Jedi with a super chat. Thank you, Jedi. I have Jimmy Garoppolo, Kamara, Marlon Mack, Singletary, Montgomery. He was offered Mahomes for Montgomery and Brady. I take that in a heartbeat because he just flat out wins your league, man, or your week to week. He's going to flat out carry you. I love Montgomery. Brady's not a bad running back. That combo is really good. But you have Mack, you have Kamara, you have Singletary. You can afford to make this move. And I like Jimmy G. No offense to Dr. Raj, but Mahomes is like, 5-6 TDs some weeks. You're going to be like, dude, you're going to be kicking back. Even if I'd rather own Mahomes and lose than own another quarterback and win. That's how much I love watching Pat Mahomes.
I mean, I'm the biggest Niner fan you can find, but I mean, if they're going to give me Patrick Mahomes, of course, for my fantasy team, come on, man.
There was a day back in Priest Holmes' day when Priest Holmes was my favorite fantasy football running back of all time. Like
all time,
owning him when you owned him and he scored the 4 or 5 TDs, in certain games, there was like no feeling when he got a short pitch at like the 7-yard line and you saw Priest Holmes just kind of wiggle left to right and then just literally walk into the end zone. It was like flawless every single time.
My favorite running back in fantasy was LaDainian Tomlinson. I remember I had him for like a couple years in a row, like Dynasty League, and it was not fair. You give him the ball, he would have just some games where you're like, oh my god, it was crazy. And then I remember there was a couple years I had Peyton Manning on my team, and it was just like he dropped 60 points with me. It's crazy.
Yeah, but what I was saying about Mahomes or Priest Holmes is that I get excited about watching Mahomes and owning Mahomes. There was a year where I traded for Priest Holmes. I think this is before I did fantasy as a profession. I think no. Yeah, what year was Priest Holmes? No, because I called his. Oh, I did some blogging and I think I called his rise, but I didn't quite have my site up yet. I'm blanking out on when he. Let's see. Let's look up Priest Holmes.
It was like 2008.
No, I think it was like earlier than that. Let's see. Priest Holmes.
5.
Let's see. Pulling it up. Priest Holmes. And of course, my system is lagging because of the live stream. Priest Holmes. Come on. Pull up. Someone else is going to find it for us. Priest Holmes was my favorite of all time. Favorite of all time. Joey, thank you for the super chat. I'm going to get to that 1 second. I'm just trying to finish this. Priest Holmes, would you please, for the love of God, work for me? Holmes. Oh, God. Come on, system. Okay, let's try it again. Holmes. Stop flexing, Joey, says Jenkins. Yeah, 2001, 2, and 3 says MT. I want to see what year, though, I'm looking for. Priest, Holmes. So, yeah, it was slightly before I knew it was before my fantasy football career started. In terms of me owning my own site, I've done some blogging, kind of predicted his rise. But it did until we lost Dr. Raj there. But it wasn't on my fantasy site that I predicted his rise. But it was before I started doing fantasy. I should probably wait to tell this story to Dr. Raj when he comes back. But I remember one time I traded for Priest Holmes. And I was so happy. I didn't care if I won. I didn't care if I lost. I didn't care about anything. Dr. Raj.
We're back.
What I was saying was, so Priest Holmes, it was 2002, 3, 4, or 2001, 2, and 3. So I started in the fantasy industry as a profession in 2003/4.
Okay.
So I predicted his rise in some blogging that I was doing, but I didn't quite have my own show. I wasn't on CBS Sports and NBC Sports Radio yet. But when I traded for Priest Holmes, and I remember one year, I think I drafted him in this particular league I'm thinking of, but I remember I didn't care if I lost. I didn't care if I won. I didn't care about anything. I just enjoyed so much watching Priest Holmes have 4 and 5 TDs in a single game for me, just walk him into the end zone. It was literally the most fun I've ever had. The reason I brought that up is I was saying I get a similar feeling, and thank you for the Super Chat, Jedi, about owning Mahomes. I enjoy just watching him play, and I don't care about my team. Yeah. I just want to know I'm owning him and I'm getting these points from him. Like, I freaking love watching Mahomes play. Mahomes is going to win people leagues if they own him moving forward.
Yeah, I love watching him play. He's good. He's 4 touchdowns. It's just like, man, you're like, oh my God, I love it.
Joey with a super chat. Watson, Kamara, Barkley, Zeke, Lockett, Evans, Ertz. What are you playing in, Joey?
Who are you playing against? Like 2 people?
Look at that team.
That.
I don't even think you could draft that team against yourself in a one-man league.
That's ridiculous, man.
Barkley, Zeke, Lockett, Evans, Ertz. That's great, man. Watson.
Wow.
Joey, if you don't win, you're banned from the show. Just plain simple.
Yeah, please.
You can't win with that. You need to go. You need to go.
Come back at the end of the season and tell us you won your league.
Yeah, you need to leave.
Oh my God.
Mood with the super chat. Thank you, Mood. Tough matchup. Must win. Mood says pick 4. So pick 4 of these guys. Adams, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, lock him in.
Tyreek Hill, lock.
Mike Thomas, lock him in.
Lock him in.
And Mike Evans, lock him in.
Lock him in.
Tevin Coleman, lock him out.
Yeah, you take Coleman's the odd man out.
I mean, you could argue Adams and Coleman, but you can't. Hill, Thomas, and Evans locked.
You don't disagree. If I had to choose between Adams and Coleman again, matchup, I go Adams.
Yeah, and then so I take Coleman out of that equation. Also, I need IDP strategies on when to pick a safety over a linebacker.
Listen, I love IDP.
You want to take this one then?
Yeah, let me take this one because I've played a lot of IDPs in my league. This is the thing. Safeties, I value linebackers more because in most IDP leagues, you're going to get a lot of points more for like tackles. Linebackers are the guys that rack up tackles for the most part, unless it's a guy like like a Minkah Fitzpatrick who gets tackles and interceptions, but you can't predict those turnovers. So for me, I always take a linebacker ahead of a safety or a DB or whatnot. So honestly, it's very rare to find a safety that I'm going to take over any linebacker because most of those linebackers are where you're getting most of your points in the IDP, and there's some quality linebackers out there that you can target. And safeties, it's hard to really pinpoint who's going to have a big breakout season because everybody wants to get like the Jamal Adams, the Derwin James, but those big name players sometimes don't rack up a lot of tackles because they're not getting the ball thrown to them, on their side. So I
need to get you on to do some like IDP writing on sleeperu.com, and then
Oh yeah, man, I'm all about. I've been playing. So my league that I play with, like my best friend since high school. Like we've run this league for probably since like 2003 with Priest Home Days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've kept this league, and I was the commissioner of it, and I always keep it just because it's my best friends. We all know each other. It's a way for us to keep connecting. We've always had IDP in that league, and over the years I followed the trends, and I'm telling you, linebackers are the way to go on that. And if I had a chance between a safety and a linebacker, I'm always going to take the linebacker. So very late, I'm taking safeties. I'm taking safeties very late in the draft.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have you do some kind of maybe this coming January or February. We'll do like an early release article, and we'll do a show on it. And you can give us your top, and then I'll turn it into an article. Give us your top 15 or 20 at each IDP position. And we'll do a video because we can dominate some IDP content because there's not any video on it.
It'll be fun.
Okay, let's see here. Made a smart trade thanks to our man Smitty. What was the trade, Joey? I'm looking. Where's the trade? Here's Joey. Where is it? Joey, post your trade. I want to see what you had. Thank you, Mood, for the super chat. You're the man. And then we have like a moment where there's no questions. Whoa. Hit the thumbs up on your way in, please. And please subscribe if you haven't. Dr. Raj will be here every Saturday, mostly every Saturday. There might be a time in his life where there's some kind of Niner event that could take him away from us. But Dr. Raj is hopefully going to be...
You're my priority on Saturday nights,
Nice.
Yeah, you're my man.
Any like other advice that you want to give people for this week? Like, for example, Mahomes and Kelsey, go get. Those are big go-gets for me. Ingram starting this week is a big for me. Ridley starting this week is a big one for me. Sell Julio high in Dynasty is a big push that I'm pushing right now because I feel like his time is not necessarily up, but it's near. He went off last week, and I think it's just a good time to step into a younger player in Dynasty. I'm talking Dynasty, so guys, please understand that. A lot of people are going to be like, Julio's great, and I'm not saying anything about this year. It's about when a receiver turns 30, 31, 32.
That's
they start
the downfall, man. I'm telling you.
And do you know about his foot? Can we look that up? Can you? I don't know if there's anything on his foot you could find on the internet because the most recent news won't show that. But I believe he has a plate in his foot. Is that correct? Does anybody know that for sure? Julio Jones. Let's see. Julio Jones foot injury history. I want to get this straight before I start.
He had a foot fracture, so yeah. Go ahead and read what you got, and I'll tell you what.
No. You tell me what you see, and I'm going to keep looking for the plate.
So he had a foot surgery, and when they do a foot surgery, it's actually a good segue because I know a lot about this, especially with the Niner player. We had a foot surgery. So when you go and do a foot surgery, they're going to go and they're going to usually put some type of hardware. And when they put hardware in your foot, they got to put some type of screw or something to set the plate in there, right? So that plate is going to be inserted into the foot wherever the fracture is to stabilize those bones. And that eventually, at some point, is going to cause some wear and tear, some stiffness, and at some point, that speed is going to take a drop. So eventually, that's going to come back and really slow him down.
It's screw, not a plate. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I said plate. Screw. You had like a screw, or I didn't know if they put any metal at all, or any kind of other than a screw in there. Yeah. So the screw's what on in his foot? It's like he had a crack, and what's the screw do exactly?
So the screw goes into where the fractured bones are, and it puts things together. It basically stabilizes them together and holds the bones together, so the bones can fuse over that area. So the screw inside is inside, and then the bones form over it. And he's basically got that screw to kind of hold things in place while the bones heal over that area. So it's like a stabilizing point.
Yeah. Why does it do that? Why does the foot require that, whereas like an arm wouldn't? Or
so because it's a smaller area and it's a part. So your shoulder, you're not walking on your shoulders, right? Your arm.
Yeah.
The foot is a weight-bearing part of your body. You're putting all that pressure on your foot. So if you don't have anything to stabilize those bones, that wear and tear can cause those bones to break again, right? And fracture, refracture. So that metal is basically allowing the body to absorb the pressure of weight bearing, so they don't refracture again. So again, in your shoulder, you're not really. I mean, if you're walking on your hands everywhere, I would love to see it. But because it's a non-weight bearing bone, you don't need metal to stabilize those bones.
Yeah.
You're going to heal and everything's going to be fine. But when you're talking about your foot, you're standing all day, you're walking. If you're a football player, you're running and cutting. All that force requires some type of metal, a plate or a screw or whatever it's got to be to stabilize those bones together. So yeah, there's a player on the Niners that recently had a foot fracture. Trent Taylor, wide receiver, slot receiver. And unfortunately, and this is the tough part of foot surgery or any orthopedic surgery, but foot surgeries for some reason are more susceptible to this. He had an infection, so they had to go back in and redo the surgery and do a washout. He's out for the season now, unfortunately. But anytime you have a foot surgery, there's always a high risk for infection. So luckily for Jones, he didn't have one.
Yeah.
But those are tough.
Am I off base by thinking that's what's going to do him in? Or because
not off base. It's a very real concern. Those types of concerns are things you got to consider when you have players on your fantasy team that have had injuries like this. These are things you should be thinking about. And for me, I'm always thinking about these worst case scenarios. Maybe it's a bad thing because I'm a physical therapist and I always think of it this way. But as a fantasy owner, you should think of it this way when you have injuries. You're like, oh my God, when's he gonna? Especially for a dynasty league, when is he going to slow down? Because he's going to slow down eventually. He can't play at this high frenetic level forever. At some point, that's going to catch up with him and slow him down. So
yeah. So I wouldn't just say that like if he was younger or whatever, but he's an older wide receiver. When's he turn? Let me pull up his age.
Was he 30? I think he's 31. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. So receivers typically take a decline like at 32 to 33.
Yeah.
And so there have been receivers in the past that have done well at an older age, just like Gore's done well at a running back at a crazy age. But let's see, Julio Jones. If I can load anything right now, gotta do a total system restart. But Julio is 30, turning 31 in February, so he's about to turn 31. It's not crazy to think that he could have one more really good year and then fall off the face of the earth, or fall off in the middle of next year. So all I'm telling people to do is trade this guy laterally for a guy that has quietly better upside and maybe youth or whatever, and find yourself, like you could have traded Julio for Mike Evans weeks ago when Mike Evans is struggling and everybody's like, oh, Mike Evans sucks, whatever. You could have traded Julio a couple weeks ago for Devontae Adams. You might still be able to in Dynasty if you give up a little bit more. So Gore is older than Matthew Berry, says Jenkins.
But he's still a legend, man. You got to put some respect.
They're still both legends, yes. Hitting the sack, Computer Bob says, good night, see everybody in the morning. Thank you,
Good night, Computer Bob.
Greg says, $2 super chat. Thank you, Greg. How to deal with snitches at work? ?
Oh,
About quitting. About quitting?
About quitting. Snitches at work about quitting.
Smitty, I was joking with my coworkers. I don't know exactly what you mean, but snitches at work. I don't know. Give me an example exactly what you're talking about, Greg. Come back. I appreciate the super chat, and I do want to answer you. Mood with a super chat. Bubba Baker, so Baker touchdown maker, or Nick. Oh, I'm sorry, no, Bubba Baker or Nick Bosa for this week.
IDP, I go Nick Bosa.
I thought he was talking about Baker. No, he's talking about Bubba Baker. Okay.
For IDP league, I think Nick Bosa should have a big week this week. I think
so. Okay, Bosa.
Yeah, go
Bubba
Bosa.
has been killing, but Bosa only goes off when he gets sacks. Also, is Evan Engram worth stashing? I think he's worth stashing if you have a roster spot to burn. But if you're talking about having small benches, then no. There's other players you could pick up. like if it's Alexander Madison or Ingram, you're not going to use Ingram most likely for the whole year. I take Alexander Madison. I get that home run type player on my roster over Ingram if you're not using him. But Ingram's really good. He could be really good, but he can never stay healthy. So
yeah, he's an injury risk, and again, I wouldn't stash him around because you never know if he's going to be fully healthy. And then as far as Nick Bosa, yeah, he's one of those guys. He's so far boom or bust, but he's had some games where you're just like, oh man, when he shows his potential, it's crazy. And I think he's due for a big game because last week they kind of doubled him up. But the way that the Niners are going to attack Russell Wilson is coming off those edges, and I think Nick Bosa and Dee Ford are going to be keys to that game. So I go Nick Bosa this week.
Yeah. See, I'm such a I do a little IDP. And I'm such an offensive guy. I immediately start going toward the players that I'm thinking of. Like I'm like Baker. He's calling Baker Bubba,
Baker Mayfield,
and then I'm like, no, Bubba Baker. Okay.
No, Bubba's been pretty solid.
Yeah.
But I think Nick Bosa's primed for a big game. Monday Night Football. The world's watching. He wants to show it. He wants to showcase he's the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I'm looking for that other snitch question because I don't. Doug says, wait, who was it that had the snitch question? Where is his answer? Smitty was just joking. Oh, I guess he didn't. Greg didn't give us an update, but I think he's saying if he's quitting.
So he's quitting, and he's worried about snitches.
Or he maybe wants to do something on his way out the door. I don't know. You could take an upper decker. I don't know if you know what that is.
What's an
where
upper
you
decker?
take a deuce in the top of the bowl of the toilet, and then for weeks it just kind of lingers.
That's a way to go out.
I mean, that's the way I'd go out. I mean, I'm not an asshole. I'd go out in style.
Yeah, go out in style. You know what? I've had a job where I've had to quit, and people they say what they got to say. At the end of the day, let people talk because you're never going to associate that with them for the most part. Again, unless you're going to unless you like really know them.
Yeah. So I definitely got lost, Dr. Raj. We'll wait for him to return. Okay, so Buddha Baker, sorry. Bubba. See how I'm reading it? Bubba, I'm reading things wrong tonight, all night long. Buddha Baker. Bubba. Where'd I get Bubba? I think I got Bubba from this Bubba Gump shrimp-looking avatar Greg has. Buddha Baker. Greg says, I was messing around with a girl like me. Hold on.
I'm back for the third time. Here we go.
Yeah, no problem. It's okay. We got... Let's see. Okay.
Video's dying, so I'm gonna bring Cap in.
And everybody alerted me. I was saying Bubba. I don't know. I read something else, and I was saying Bubba instead of Buddha. I don't know what my problem is tonight. Okay. Greg says I was messing around with a girl who liked me. I think he means if she'd be mad if I quit. I do have my 4 associates, and I can get a better job than dishwashing. I'm not sure, Greg.
So what he's saying is he has a girl that he likes at work, a colleague, and he's going to leave, right? I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, but he's saying, what do you do about snitches, I thought he said earlier.
Oh, because people are going to talk about it because he's with the girl. I think I see what he's saying. So he's with this girl kind of behind the scenes at work with this girl that he likes, and then maybe they're hooking up. Who knows? And he's worried that when he leaves, people are going to talk about him and maybe get the girl in trouble. At the end of the day, I think it's good that he's leaving because if I'm at work, I don't want to date anybody I'm working. So it's probably better that he's leaving instead of dating and working at the same place. I think more people will talk and snitch if he was working at the place and this girl.
My thinking is if you don't care about the job, if you care about her, if she's working there and you care about what it's going to do to her because of a snitching situation, so you're saying you might leave so you can keep dating her, I guess, but you're saying that she'd be mad if you quit. So if she be mad that you quit and you don't care what anybody thinks and you don't care what they think about you, just do a freaking Office Space where you just go in and you just literally don't care. Date her, let everybody know, and just ride it out, man. Like
Jim Halpert status, huh?
Yeah, Lumberg.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Lumberg.
I mean, I don't know.
I was thinking Office. Yeah. Oh yeah, Lumberg. Oh man, TPS reports over there.
Yeah, but Greg, I hopefully we answered your question. If we didn't, please.
That's
please.
a tough one. I think he needs to leave the job and continue to date her. Don't worry about what anybody says. Maybe he's worried about what they're gonna say to her, so he's looking out for her. But that's a tough situation.
Yeah. Oliver said, I forgot this was Jerry Springer.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, if you super chat, man, you get to the front of the line no matter what.
Yeah, someone's gonna we gotta respect the question.
Yeah, someone's gonna drop a 5 spot and ask a question. I'm gonna answer that.
You gotta answer it, man, no matter what the question is.
TPS reports. Yeah, but if anybody does need to leave their place of employment, and this is just advice, this is not like, you're responsible for your own doing. But what I imagine doing is the upper decker routine. Just
classic. I'm gonna remember that one, Smitty. If I have to.
Yeah, hitting 2 or 3 of the most occupied and busy bathrooms. Drop a couple. I mean, even if you're just taking in a bag of like the dog's poop and just dropping them in the top bowl of the toilets and just like. You're gonna deuce out that way with a real deuce.
Do it with style, man. I like it.
Yeah, I know you're joking, Oliver. Dr. Raj, fantasy advice. Let's see. Dr. Raj, fantasy advice greater than Dr. Raj, relationship advice, is what he's saying. Yeah, well, hey, man, whatever.
You know what? Hey,
it's a compliment.
Right. That's why I'm divorced and single dad. I'm a single dad, so you're right. Don't take my relationship advice. Take my fantasy and advice.
I'm in the same boat as you, and I found Mrs. Smitty who puts up with this, and I'm lucky. Yeah. So, but yes, you don't do what we do, and please everybody. I think in the household all the time.
You really can't, man. It's when you're a sports, blogger or writer or anything like that. It takes so much time. It's so much of your time. And people get frustrated over it, man.
Yeah. All right, let's take a couple more questions, and then we'll call it a night tonight. Tonight has been a little quieter than the other night. We've been dancing around the 100 to 200 range for eyeballs. Hunt or Hyde, choose one.
I like Carlos Hyde this week, but
yeah, I mean he's playing great.
You can't go wrong. I like Carlos Hyde this week.
Hyde coming off a big game. I don't know how you sit him for a guy that you don't even know what's going to happen with Hunt. You don't know what he's going to get.
He's the pick, Carlos Hyde. That offense is clicking, and he's part of that offense.
One or two questions off topic is okay in the chat. That's just me. I agree, Legion.
I agree.
Aaron with the super. If you guys keep super chatting, I'm not going anywhere. I'll tell you that. Please, back to football. Aaron says, drops the super chat just to say that. Okay.
Yeah, no,
Aaron, if someone super chats me a life question, I've got to answer it. But I am going to get back to football right now until another inappropriate question comes in via super chat. Then I got to jump to it. But wipe your feet, says Jordan. Please do. We only have 78 thumbs up, which is pretty respectable, I guess. But 102 people in the room currently. Let's get more people in the room. What the hell?
Slow night.
Yeah, Yosemite ready for Bell to go better than Singletary. Oh, yeah, Jenkins and I have a bet. Jenkins is going to go on Instagram Live and do a lap, because I always tell people to take a lap when they say something stupid or whatever. If Bell doesn't outscore Singletary this week, and if Singletary gets outscored by Bell, then I'm going to mention Jenkins and do a shout-out and ring my bell
this weekend, so
yeah, so you might be okay, but I'm gonna ring the bell for him and call him out. If he, either way, I'm gonna call him out. But if he wins the bet, so Jenkins, I want to see this Instagram Live. You better scream like the Fantasy Football Show while you're running your lap.
You gotta plug my guy Smitty.
Yeah. MT 5 thumbs up. I'm not sure if you're answering a question or just... Pick 2. Emmanuel Sanders, Lat Murray, Larry Fitzgerald, A.J. Brown.
I go Emmanuel Sanders and A.J. Brown.
Me too. Me too. Hyde ain't playing. Hyde isn't playing.
Hyde's not playing?
Did I miss that?
Are they on the bye this week?
Oh, yeah, this week. That's true.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Sometimes I answer the question because people are asking about any week.
I thought the question was just in general.
Yeah. Yeah, he's on a bye this week, but 19 for 160 yards in week 9.
That's a huge game. They had that fumble at the end. That was a little.
Yeah. Seclan, read previous message. Seclan, you always do this to me. Just let's see. Here it is. Pick 2: Ridley, Golden Tate, Odell Beckham Jr., or Curtis Samuel. I'm flexing David Montgomery, so you need 2. I go Ridley. I don't bench Ridley this week. Mm-hmm. And Odell's hard to bench, but I like Golden Tate a little more. I have a feeling Dr. Raj is going to like Tate as one of those.
Oh, man. I got to start
hard to
Ridley. That's my guy this week. I think Ridley's going to have a big game. And, man, you really don't want to bench OBJ. I love OBJ, but the matchup for Golden Tate is too good to pass up, man. You got to roll with Golden this weekend. Yeah. I play the matchup on this one, but, I mean, it's hard to bench OBJ. But the matchup says Golden Tate.
Thanks, gentlemen. Doug says, for the show, good as always. Good luck tomorrow. Life questions are important. We can't be effective in fantasy if we don't know how to bang at work and poop in toilet tops.
I like it.
I mean, I don't know. I think that's an important topic.
I mean, I think it's good to have because I mean, on my live stream, because this is what I tell everybody in my live stream. I'm not here just for sports advice or fantasy advice. Yeah. We're all human beings. Sometimes people are stressed out. They want to reach out. Just go ahead, and if they're paying for it.
I'm actually surprised that we got even one comment that was, hey, get back to football, because a lot of my stuff, like I literally go to the park and I doing the chin-up, pull-up challenge thing that I'm doing right now where I'm trying to get to do a muscle up where you go all the way up. Yeah, so like we do a lot of off-topic stuff.
It's good. You need to, people, it's more than fantasy sports and football. It's life, and we all going through stuff at some point. Some people just need to talk to someone, and if we're the only people they could talk to, then I'm all for it. I mean, I see people struggling every day at work, so
yeah.
It's
Raj, cool. Your Niners handling business over the Seahawks ? Game of the week.
This is definitely game of the week. Could be game of the year status, and of course we're going to handle business. We're going to be 9-0. It's going to be a grinded-out game.
That's crazy, man.
It's going to be a 24-20 victory for the Niners. It's going to be a tough game. Russell Wilson, I got to respect him. He's the MVP candidate right now, probably the front runner. Not probably, he is. But I'm telling you, home crowd is cooking. The Niners are special this season, and we're going to win the game.
Mood has a super chat. Thank you, Mood. Appreciate you. Antonio Brown was not placed on the commissioner exempt list when he went to the Patriots. Why do people think he will if he gets signed now? Mood, I don't know that people necessarily fear exactly that. I mean, that's one component of it. But it's about, look what he did to John Gruden. Outing John Gruden with his private conversation. Look how he handled himself after he moved on and made everything public. Look how he's been talking trash about everybody. No team wants that in their locker room, man. He could destroy a locker room.
Toxic Avenger. And I've talked a lot about Antonio Brown on my page on our Step 49ers.
Yeah.
The Niners were linked heavily to him, because of the whole George Kittle tweet, what's up on New Year's Day, and then there was all the rumors. Jerry Rice talking about you need to get AB. Terrell Owens was, talking about him. And the reason, and this is what John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, the GM and the 49ers coach, said about him. They said, look, we have a certain type of player we want on this team. We haven't tried to go down that avenue. I'm telling you, a lot of GMs probably feel the same way. They don't want that drama in their locker room, especially now it's halfway through the season. You don't need to bring that type of vibe into any locker room right now. Teams that are trying to make the playoffs. Great receiver. I'm not ever going to disrespect his talent because he's one of the best receivers I've watched play this game. He's super talented, but with everything he's went through, if the Patriots can't keep this guy on the roster, no team's gonna try to want to.
Yeah, and Mood, I think that Buzz could kick up. Who knows? I don't know that anything will happen, but Buzz could kick up. That doesn't mean that he's going to get signed. But there was talk.
A lot.
There was talk about a couple teams looking into him the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
But in 14 leagues that I do, I will admit I did grab him in one league a few weeks ago, and I've just been so busy to drop him. Look into only because in that league it's so deep, like super deep. And you'll see him in Dynasty League still on a lot of deep-ass Dynasty rosters because people just don't know. They don't want to – like, who are you going to drop him for? I have a league where literally Corey Davis isn't even available to pick up. So in those leagues, like Antonio Brown,
super deep
on the small chance of him maybe getting signed by, like, the Ravens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're a team that would do it.
Yeah, the outskirt chance. But I wouldn't even worry about him. He's not on my radar on any team because I just don't. Even my deep leagues, like I don't think even if he comes back, it's just too much of a hassle. I don't think he's coming back this season. And then he's so weird because he should be focusing on being just getting himself right. He's went through a lot.
He doesn't even know he's wrong though. You know what I mean?
And he goes on Twitter and he goes on these rants and then he'll say, "Oh, I hate football. F this, F that."
Yeah.
And then 2 hours later, I want to go back to the game.
Yeah.
Like. Like he contradicts everything he says.
He's not right in the head, man.
He's a headache, man.
You know what he should do? He should just be like, my social media was hacked, and none of that was.
Did you see what happened the other day on Twitter? So apparently, he was making some tweets, right? Some crazy, his typical tweets, and then under it, there was an account that was commenting all of it, and it was all positive. And AB's a legend. AB It was all funny comments about how great he was. But if you looked at the comment or the name of the comment of the handle, it was his middle name with some numbers. So people basically figured out this was his burner account. Everybody went crazy because they put one and one together. And it was basically Antonio Brown using his burner account to go on all these accounts and start talking all this mess. It was funny because he basically came out with his burner account and everybody found out about it. So it was pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Let's see. Question here. Scully wants to know if Hyde is on a bye. Yes, he's on a bye. We were kind of answering that question in general, like Hyde moving forward.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will snap back at a response without, thinking too much about the bye week this week. But he is on a bye. Yes.
Yeah.
Was White Castle better than In-N-Out? No, White Castle was not.
No way. Crazy.
I tried it for the first time. We've never had it in Arizona. I waited in line, did a live. And waited in line. The line was 3 to 4 hours long all week, and I went like at a real late hour, and it was only about 45 minutes to an hour wait. And I tried it. It was good, very greasy, but In-N-Out's a lot better. In-N-Out's like
In-N-Out's the superior burger by far. Similar story when I lived in Vegas because they don't have a white. They never had White Castle for years. So when they finally opened it, it was all the hype was there. Everybody was going crazy, camping out, 2-3 hour line. So I finally tried it, and I was, it was okay. But to me, that's a burger. White Castle's a burger. If you're drunk, that's a good drunk burger. That's like good drunk food.
I bet.
It'll soak up all the alcohol because it's so greasy. But, man, In-N-Out doesn't compare to that. Oh, man, no way.
Yeah. Smitty, been on your lives for 2 months now. Love it, bro. Love you guys. You're the best. And Dr. Raj is awesome, and you are awesome doing my work to try and get you more subscribers. Thank you, Joey.
Hey, man, appreciate the positive comments.
Yeah.
I know some people weren't feeling me before, but...
No, I think there was maybe one person that said something about, like, Smitty, I like your solo show or something. That had nothing even to do with you. I don't think I've seen anybody say Dr. Raj.
Good. I like it.
No, people...
I mean, it don't matter, but... I do like the positive comments.
Yeah, no. I do enough shows that like you're literally on 1/7 or 1/8 of my shows for the week, so it's great. Animal Style, Aaron, is the best at In-N-Out. Have you ever done Animal? Yeah, dude.
Yes.
Animal Style is the way to go.
You know what? It's so funny. I was thinking about In-N-Out today. I'm gonna get some In-N-Out tomorrow. Watch some football games with In-N-Out tomorrow.
In-N-Out's so good, man. It's
so good, man.
Joe, can you talk about Henderson going forward with Brown coming back, hold or drop? So we talked about this earlier, and then I'll address it again for you real quick, though. Hold or drop, I need to drop one of the following: Robbie Anderson, Jamison Crowder, Darryl Henderson, or Geis. Need a DE.
Oh, I know you
Nick
dropped
Bosa.
Geis.
Yeah, I'd say drop Geis or Crowder. I lean Geis because I mean, what's he gonna do? Like he's I don't know that he's in line to even
Do much and
Yeah, I mean, he's got upside a little bit, maybe, but Henderson I don't drop. I still wait. I know a lot of people might drop Henderson, but I'm not. I just feel like you don't even know what position he's in. He could be in a position to go crazy and do well, or he could never get used again. Crowder's playing really well. Robbie Anderson has a lot of upside. Geis is not in line to get starter touches yet, so.
and the thing, this is the reason the meet. As soon as you said that word, guys, it like just threw red flags in my head because he's never ever been healthy, and with the amount of injuries he's had and it's recurring injuries, that's just a red flag to have on any team. I'm a big proponent of, you have guys like that on your team that have had chronic injury history. You don't want him on your team, and he's expendable. That's the thing. If you drop him, you don't run the risk of anybody picking him up and saying, "Oh man, I just stole this guy from this guy."
Yeah.
You can drop guys with confidence, pick up who you need to, and then maybe in a week or two, see how he's doing, and then you can add him back on your team. But you're not going to lose much if you drop guys.
Yeah,
really
and Henderson, I think he could be a league-winning player or nothing. We just don't know. It's all in the Rams' hands, and I'm not confident. But
no, I agree. He's boomer bust, and it all depend on if they want to give him the carries or not.
Yeah. Smitty, my hero. Thank you, W. I appreciate that. Love Dr. Raj. You guys are a great duo, says Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. Jenkins says, "Yo, I love Dr. Raj. I got so much respect for him," says Jenkins.
Hey, appreciate you guys.
See?
I love you guys.
Jenkins, I got him a whole 8 subscribers. You did. Jenkins,
that's good.
You the man.
You the man.
Besides, this is from Aroni. Besides Watson and Mahomes, other QBs to target. So Aaron Rodgers had a bad week, and you might be able to get him cheap. And he to me is a top 5 QB, easy, yeah. Top 3 to 4 QB, pretty easy. Brady's always kind of underrated. You could go after Brady.
I like Drew Brees. Brees is a guy that's always going to put up numbers in that offense. With Sean Payton running the show, you can get at least 2-3 touchdowns for the most part on a weekly basis. Drew Brees is good. He's coming off injury, so you could probably get him for not too much. I like Brees. Rodgers, I like him too. You said he had a bad week last week, so you could probably get him for
lower than you would expect. Trying to think. You're not going to get Russell Wilson cheap anymore. Lamar Jackson, you're probably not going to get him cheap, but he's cheaper than he was. But Aaron Rodgers is the only guy. Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers are the only guys in the top 10, in my top 10, that look like they could had like a tier below they should.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to give up Wilson and Lamar Jackson up right now. Those two guys have been killing it right now. But you might want to buy low. You might be able to buy low on Russell Wilson after they play the Niners this week.
Yeah. Legion says he likes the doc. Thank you, Legion.
Thank you. Can
you talk? Oh, I already got that one. Y'all killing it. Thank you, Gaines.
Appreciate it.
Hazelnut says, Dr. Raj, has the man ever had a smash burger?
Oh, of course, man. Smash burger is premium. I like the smash fries. Actually,
oh, yeah. They're good
fries. Smash fries are some of my favorite. My daughter loves smash burger. We live close to one, so sometimes I'll pick her up and I'm like, what do you want? If I'm not in the mood to cook anything, she goes, let's go smash burger.
Yeah, really good. High-end, like higher-end burger, good. It's a really good place.
Which one?
Well, In-N-Out's like cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
Smash Burger's like more expensive, higher end, but they're both like darn good.
Good.
All right, I think that's gonna do it for today, Dr. Raj. I'm it's 12:30. Got to get up for the morning show.
You got to get up and do your thing. It's a bye week for me tomorrow again because we don't play till Monday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be productive, eat some In-N-Out, and have a good day.
Hit the thumbs up on your way out, please. Follow Dr. Raj on Instagram at RSF49ers. He's so big on there that he goes live and he has what we have on our biggest day on his mediums or small size day on a live. So, and if you want to watch the 49ers game, There's one way to do it, even if it's not playing in your area. You go to Dr. Raj's Instagram, you look at his live feed, rotate your phone, and enjoy. And you get to hear him screaming and yelling
I go crazy.
in the background.
It's great. If you're out cleaning the car, you're out in and out, wherever you're doing, and you want to tune into the Niners, just check out the stream, and then you'll be able to watch it.
All right, guys. See you in the morning. KB says the Fantasy Headliners early morning show, ? I'm near airbase every week. Catch you guys. Okay, cool. I've asked the Headliners to come on the show. I've also asked to go on their show, do like a mutual collab. They were about to do it, and then they got too busy in the offseason. Then they got bigger. We're gonna pass the Headliners. We're really small compared to them right now, but we are going to pass them. Mark my words. It may take a couple years or a year, but we will pass them. Don't you worry. They grew like the fantasy football show. The growth, if you look at the grand scheme of it and the ratio, like going from essentially like 100 subscribers to 3,700 in like an 8-month period is there are sites that have gone from like 10 or sites YouTube channels that have gone from like 10 to like 29,000 this offseason that I've watched, but our growth rate is greater than these shows. So as soon as we get like that number bigger, because we keep multiplying like at an extremely high number, as soon as I can get to 10,000, and I had somebody tell me the other day, don't focus so much on the size, but I have to in order to get, like I try and do a mix of focusing on it and worrying about it. Like I don't really care about I don't produce a YouTube video about tight end rankings, then do one about wide receiver rankings, and do one about QB, and release them in sequence to try and get traffic for them. I do what I feel is right, and I feel like I always keep it, kind of prioritized for me. But I still have to try and get to the size that keeps the lights on. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a tough balance.
You have to, like, it's not like you're worried about it, but you still have to do it, because if you have goals and stuff, you have to push to get there. You're going to get there. You're amazing. Your show's great. You have good content. People love you. You give good information. It's going to get there. I'm confident in it.
Yeah, I got to do some guerrilla marketing. Like, I wish I had more time. I want to walk around, like, the college campuses and, do fantasy questions, do a live, hand out stuff. Like, I want to always be that way. And
that's great. No, it's good that you do that.
Yeah, and even when we get bigger, like, right now the questions are manageable. Like, they're literally, like, every couple seconds a question gets entered, and so if I'm answering one question, the 10 that are visible to me right now will be completely gone by the time I'm done answering that one question. When we get to the 30,000, 20,000 subscriber mark, it's going to be like this, zipping by, and I won't be able to answer it. So super chats will become an easier way to get your question answered. When you have 70,000 in yours, 70,000 followers. How many do you have when you go live on Instagram typically?
So it depends. Like today, I went live because of George Kittle information and this and that. People wanted to chat and stuff. So I had like it was like it's a Saturday afternoon. Not a lot of people. It was like 250 to 300. That was pretty good.
And how fast did the questions go by on those? Is it literally like this?
It's like I honestly I try not to get over those questions, because I just go on and like I talk and I give the news and I go over. You've seen me. I go over stuff. I'll hype stuff up. I'll go over analysis. I'll go over questions. Every once in a while, I'll see some questions and I'll save those to the end. And then what I started doing, actually just recently, I put the question cards up there, and then I'll go through them and answer them. It's tough, because if you're just looking at the screen and stuff scrolling, it's like every second they're just like boom, 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 boom. It's too hard, man.
Yeah, it is. Ronnie wants to know what's the doctor's Instagram handle. It's right above his head there. RSF 49ers, OURSF 49ers, and you'll see the red 49er logo and 72 or how many thousand? 72,000.
It was like 74 now.
74. So you'll see it as soon as you see 74,000 followers. You'll know that's the right one. But go follow him. And he'll be. We go live every Thursday night, or roughly every
night. We go
on
live
Instagram.
And we talk about some stuff. We should probably do a little bit more here and there.
Yeah,
fun.
But count on us halftime of the Thursday night game on Instagram Live and then on Saturday night. So
Yeah.
we're starting there. All right, guys. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate Dr. Raj. We'll see you. Dr. Raj, we'll let you go real quick and then I'll close out the
man.
show.
Hey, appreciate you. Thanks again.
Love having
Go
you on,
Niners, man. And good luck to everybody on their fantasy team this week.
Bang, bang, Niner Gang Monday night.
Bang, bang, man. I can't wait, man.
Yeah, this could be. I tune into your lives after the game, man. I love seeing you run around, and I hope you're running around Monday night.
I want to be dancing this weekend. You know, I might not be running around. We'll see. It's gonna be a big game. So.
I saw your moves. You were doing some kind of like break dance thing.
Yeah, you saw the moves. I was busting out some.
Can we see that right now or no?
I'm gonna save it.
You're gonna save it. Okay.
So maybe next Saturday if I'm in a good mood.
Okay.
You know, I gotta save my moves.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man. We'll see you later.
All right, man. Later.
Dr. Raj, he's good people. Love having Dr. Raj on, and it's fun to mingle with somebody on the show and not just talk like I'm by myself all the time. So I appreciate having him on and having a good guest that I feel like we jive together. It's good content. He provides a different angle, so it's not like he's stepping on my content or the way I'm delivering it. It's a good feel. I've gone live with someone before, and I'm like, literally just does not jive well, and it's like you're running into each other and all that. Dr. Raj is going to be sad when the Seahawks pick the Niners apart, says Jordan. Ooh, in Dr. Raj's face, behind his back. After he leaves, you just stick it in the back, Jordan. All right, I'm out of here. Let's see, Jenkins said, Smitty's my boy, always being selfless, humble, and kind to everyone. Thank you. Don't worry, you'll get there. And I'm not worried about it. I hate to ask people to subscribe. I hate to ask people to hit the thumbs up. I hate to even go in that direction because I'd rather you want to do it, you know. So I apologize if it comes off as like, damn, he keeps asking us. It's more about like, you know, once we get to a certain level, it's just going to take over from there. And I don't even know that I'll need to worry about that. But I do need to keep the lights on. The super chats help. And you guys spreading the word helps like I can't explain. So definitely keep telling everybody about it. If you don't want to tell people in your league, tell people at work that play in a league that you might not care about. Or tell people at work that may do fantasy football and you don't play in a league with. Tell anybody and get them to subscribe. And if you haven't hit subscribe yet and hit that bell notification, do it. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for the morning show kickoff. I do 1 hour before kickoff of the morning games every single Sunday. I go live. Join me. Start bench. Who do you start? Who do you sit? Let's do it. Later.